Hey guys, it's Maymay. I'm here a little early because I need to check the audio. Well, I need to check the audio for one thing. We always come in a little early, but I'm having some audio issues and I want to make sure you guys can hear me. So if you can hear me, I'm going to tell y'all that God worked miracles tonight. So just tell me if you can. I'm praying that you can. So far, no good. Great. Oh, yes. I'm going to tell y'all, my our God is awesome. God, y'all don't know. You don't know. I have been through it with technology tonight. I cannot even tell you. Okay, so we've got 15 minutes before we start. I'm just telling y'all, it's been. Ooh, okay. I got 15 minutes to get my bearings. I'm not joking though. I'm really not joking when I tell y'all God performed a miracle tonight. Like, honestly, He did. One day I will tell you about it. Right now, I'm trying to get to the chat so I can see y'all. Give me just a second. When I do this cricket class situation, because I'm not very tech savvy, I struggle sometimes. Shocker. Maybe struggles with technology. Vinny is moderating tonight. Shannon is still testing positive. So I did not test because in our area they're like, if you don't have reason to come in the emergency room, don't come in the emergency room to get tested. And in our area to get tested, you wait like 4 or 5 hours. Vince and I just assumed we had it. We're just like, we're gonna assume we got it and go from there. So I don't have a test. So what we're afraid of is, let's say that Shannon really isn't. I mean, let's say I'm not positive, but Shannon is. We don't want to give it to me. Does that make sense? So Shannon's going to just stay home tonight and do this from her house. And Vince is going to be my moderator tonight. Are y'all like, we're talking to you? I'm sorry. I'm getting there. I got to get to the chat. Tamitha, can you Facebook message me the link? I just thought about that. I don't have the link. I'm going to use my phone to get to the chat. And I'm also going to need you to Facebook message it to Vince because he's not going to have it either. All right, here's what I'm going to do. Till we get started, I'm going to do this number. I can see y'all this way, but y'all can too. Susan, you need to have a Design Space account. Yes. You don't have to have a paid account, but you need to have a Design Space account. I'm gonna turn my mic off and see if you can still hear me, because I don't know if it's the mic that's working or my computer. Oh, it's my computer that's working. You're getting audio from that. Yeah, so she's gonna stay home just in case, but I think I had it because y'all, I'm just now getting my taste back, which is so weird because I don't know. Whatever. God is so good. That's just all I want to say, because we sitting here tonight and y'all see my screen. God is so good. I don't know what you believe, but you need to know he did you a favor tonight. I just want to tell Josh. Poor Josh has been trying to help me. I need to call him like, son, look what God did. Look what God did. He always shows up and shows out. Okay. Tamitha is moderating from Tennessee tonight. So you can see that she's been typing to us. She's moderating. So we got that going for us too, because if we need anything, Tam can do it. And again, we will not start till 6:30, but I like to come in early so you guys can get, what, Sue? I'm so sorry. So you guys can get comfy and everything. Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need to be able to get to Design Space and hear me. You don't need to see me. You're not going to see my face tonight. I like whenever I do this class to have Design Space fill the whole screen, so you won't see my face, but you will need to see the screen where I'm working, and you'll need to be able to hear me. So, like, if you wanted to have the screen, like on your computer, and then play the video, play it also on your phone for hearing it, you could do that. But really, you just need to get to where if you want to play along in Design Space. Now, I recommend this one. I recommend that you Oh, I can get rid of that now, Susan. That's my fault. I was getting the chat open on my phone. Let me fix it. I recommend that you just watch tonight. Okay? I recommend you just watch, maybe take out a notebook and take notes. I don't recommend trying to point and click with me. The reason is I know Cricut Design Space, so I'm going to point and click faster than you're used to pointing and clicking. But in the past, what people have told me is if they just watch and they take notes, they do much better in the future. That's what I've been told in the past. There's bottles of, yes, there's bottles of water in that bag if you want one. I explained to them that you're going to moderate. And Benny has not moderated a Cricut class for me before online.
It's going to be interesting.
But that's okay. I'm going to have to teach all of y'all how it works at the same time. Tamitha's here. And Shannon may try to sign in. She wasn't sure if she was going to try to or not. Oh, I forgot something. I need to go get it front. We don't start for 7 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, Tamitha sent you the link to this live so you can get on the chat.
Okay. Oh, that reminds me.
Me singing God is so good because he literally performed a miracle tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was praising his name.
We're having shouting time.
You just, it's like, how does the same technology I use once a week suddenly to go, no, don't do that anymore. That's it. That's literally, nope, don't do that anymore.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, I did that last week, but not this week. Joyce, this link that you have right now, if you will, how do you do that on YouTube? Save it. I'm a YouTuber and don't know. You can save it in your history, or the email that you receive with this link. That link will work for you indefinitely. You'll be able to use that link anytime you want. No, I'm not kidding. I've been in prayer since about 4 o'clock. In hard prayer. Seriously, Kay. And everything seemed to be going real smooth. And about 5:30, I went to power everything up, get ready to go. And this said no. So I'm not doing it. Said, look, you got to take a break. I'm taking a break. And I was like, no, you're not.
You don't have time to take a break.
I started praying hard. I called Josh. Josh was FaceTiming. We were doing anything we could. Josh couldn't figure it out. I'll tell you, figured it out. God. Only God knows. Some of these folks be like, she's a fanatic. She is. She's a Jesus freak. Right?
You can't help it.
I can't help it. He literally, if it weren't for him, we wouldn't be having this tonight. Okay. 4 minutes till we start. Yes, use that link anytime you want. Peggy, I'm so glad you said that. Let me tell you. Design Space works with all of the machines, and we'll talk about this again, but Design Space works with all the machines. That's why I tell you, take this class. The machine is nothing. The machine scares people because that's what we purchase and bring home and don't know how to use. But the machine is not where your hiccup's going to be. The software is where your hiccup's going to be. It always is. I promise you, if you learn this software, it will, your machine, you'll be like, oh, the machine doesn't even matter. Look at all you guys. Kathy, I think your iPad would be fine. Whatever is most comfortable for you to follow along with. Yes, you can go to the share and copy that link and like save it in your notes or something. Like, I don't know if you use a Mac or a Windows. Matter of fact, tell me on here who uses, just say Mac or Windows. Let me see what we're working with tonight. Heidi, why can't you see anything? You feel like I sound? Oh, is Shannon on?
Oh, no, I ain't looking yet.
Lots of Windows, folks. Wow. Whew. Okay. It won't matter. Design space is the same across both platforms. It does, I mean, it matters in a 102, 103 situation, not a 101 situation. But it's interesting for me to know. I'm a Mac girl. I use only Macs and Apple products because they work so well and I never have an issue with them. And the technology I'm talking about tonight that was an issue didn't have anything to do with my computer. It had to do with software. That's called Streamlabs that we stream with. I'm going to change my streaming software. I can't do it anymore. I fought it long enough. But it won't matter. All right, in 1 minute we're going to get started. Yes, it will do that. You can click that button on the bottom and save it to your library. You can also come back and look at your history. If you ever really get lost, and look, worst case scenario, you can always email Shannon. I can't see you, only what you have. Yeah, you won't see my face tonight. When I teach Cricut classes, I only have Cricut showing because every corner of the screen matters with Cricut, and I can't find a place to put my face that gets out of the way, because it might be out of the way in one section, but then whenever I'm teaching, it'll be in the way in another section. And rather than you have to watch me move my face around 1,000 times, I just don't put faces in tonight. So it's just Cricut. Okay, it's 6:30. We're going to get started. All right, let me tell you a little bit of stuff. Okay. Vince and I do believe we are recovering from COVID. So I may have to step out and cough. Okay.
He may have to step
Vince
out.
may have to step out and cough. If we do, we're going to do that. If for some reason the cough gets so bad that I cannot continue, I don't think it's going to happen. God's been too good tonight. If for some reason this happens, I'm going to film this class and email it to you. I have a list in front of me of every one of you guys, all of your emails. I don't think that's going to happen if for some reason it does. Okay. Number 2. This class is a Design Space 101 class. Here's what that means. I want to run through and show you as much of Design Space as I can, as much of what it does as I can, without overwhelming you. It's going to feel overwhelming. Okay. I promise you the next time you watch or when you go to use Design Space, it won't be overwhelming, but it's going to feel overwhelming.
I'll see the chat.
Let me see your iPad. You know, I never could figure that out on your iPad. Sorry, y'all. I think you have to get into it. I think you have to sign in. I'm not sure about it. It's going to feel overwhelming tonight. That's why I suggest you take out a notebook. Don't try to click and follow along, okay? Watch the screen, sit back. I promise it'll just be easier that way. That's what I found, okay? You have this and you can look at it anytime you want, okay? I will address that real quick. You will not see my face. Like I was saying before 6:30, if I put my face in the screen, at some point in time, inevitably it's in the way. It just always happens. So you won't see my face. To keep this, you can't see, can you?
Oh. And what I see.
Do it on your phone because it works on your phone.
The link that Tamitha sent me, that's what I clicked on.
Do it on your phone. To keep this running smoothly tonight, here, just like in our regular classes, this is what we're going to do. If you have a question, no. if I say, is everybody with me? Give me a 1. That means you're going to type the number 1 in the chat. So let's try that. Is everybody with me? Give me a number 1. Okay. If you have a question or need me to slow down in any way, you can give me a number 2. Not right now, because we'll talk about that in a minute too. But we're going to do it just like we do our regular classes with 1s and 2s. And I'm going to say, if you understand or you can keep up with me, give me a 1. For questions, what we're going to do is I'm going to go through a section and then I'm going to take questions. And I'm going to go through a section and then I'm going to take questions. And I'm going to go through a section and then I'm going to take questions. That's how we're going to do it. It's much easier that way for everyone involved. In the chat, here's what I need you to do. I need you to imagine that you are in a classroom full of students. That's good. That's what we're looking for. I need you to imagine you're in a classroom full of students. This is how this works, Vince, for you too, okay? Okay. If the teacher is speaking in class, you don't talk amongst yourselves, correct? Because it does what? It distracts the other students. It's the same in the chat here. If you guys start having a conversation in the chat, it distracts students. Even if you're like, oh, I know how to do this or whatever, your conversation in the chat will do that. So we try to keep the conversation in the chat to 1s, 2s, and questions, okay? It will just help us in the long run. All right, so before we get started, well, let me say this. If at the end of the class there is something I did not address, I promise you, I will let you ask questions. You will have so much question time because that's the point of tonight. Chatting amongst yourselves is not the point of tonight, so that's why I kind of put a little squelch on that because you want to learn, but you will have plenty of time to ask questions. Okay? All right. Your mic's not on. Because it's not working that way. All right, here we go. Are we ready? We are.
So my mic's not working.
Your mic's not working. They can hear you because I'm having to use the desktop audio. We are at Cricut Design Space. This is, if you see on my screen, you can see my mouse trolling around the screen. This is Design Space. Now, I have it downloaded onto my computer, so it's an app that I just click and open on my computer, okay? And tonight we're going to be talking laptop. Now, a lot of you are going to be like, but I use my iPad or I use my phone. Here's what I want to tell you. Tonight we're learning what functions do. They live in different places, but we're learning what they do, okay? So you don't have to worry about that too much. Once you know what a function does, you can use it on the iPad just like you can here, okay? So don't think you're lost. Don't think you can't keep up just because you use an iPad or iPhone. The function is the function. It's just a matter of, is it here or over there, okay? All right, let's start at the home page. I want to show you at the top here, in the top left hand of my screen, where my mouse is spinning around, it says Home. Next to it are these 3 lines. Those 3 lines are called the hamburger menu. Isn't that funny because it looks like a hamburger? I'm going to click on it. When you do, you get this drop down. Now, I always start here because a lot of you guys don't know this exists. If you have a Cricut account and you ever need to do anything with it, this is where you need to go, okay? So you click on that hamburger menu, and you notice right here it says View Profile. I'm going to click on that. You have a profile in Design Space. And you can see this is mine. I've got my name. It tells when I joined. It's got a little bit about me. I added my YouTube and information in there. And you'll see I have 76 followers. I'm following 3 people. Like, this is kind of cool. It's something that Cricut did for us not too long ago, really. So now you kind of have like a membership there. I mean, not really. It doesn't cost anything to do this, but you kind of do. You can also see here that I have these projects that I share with people. These are projects I have shared on YouTube. And so it shows you those projects so you can get them if you want to. So like I follow, let me show y'all somebody I follow, Melody. Let's click on Melody's. Any of her shared products are going to be here. I can go get her, oh, she does a lot, doesn't she? Yeah, look, you can go get any of Melody's shared products right here, okay? This is just one place. But I show you this because you might want to set up your profile, and that's where you do it. You can put your photo, you can put all information about you. Underneath here, you'll see that we have the option Home, which is where we are. We're already at the home page. Canvas, don't worry about that. You're not going to access it from there, so I'm going to skip it. New product setup, if you have a new product you need to set up. Calibration of your machine, if you ever run into that issue. I wouldn't calibrate without calling customer service and let them walk you through it. Let's be honest. You can manage custom materials here. That's kind of a 102 situation. We'll get to that another time, but for tonight, just know that's where it is.
The ones are good, right?
Mm-hmm. This is what I want you to really look at right here, account details. If you click on account details, this is going to take you to your Cricut account. If you need to make any changes, this is where you would do that. Mine is being slow because of my internet tonight, which we don't even care about this, so we're going to go back. Y'all are like, we just want to see Cricut. Okay, so let me go back to it. If you go to your account details, you click here, that's where you can go make changes to your like payment method. If you want to change your access program, whatever you want to do, that's where you can do that, okay? If you have one of the machines that allows you to link cartridges, you do it here. If you don't have Cricut access, but you want to sign up for it, you can do it here. The settings I don't mess with, the legal I don't worry about, but this is the place right here that I think is the best in this whole menu. It's called What's New. I'm going to click on it. In any time there's an update, and let me tell you this, there's going to be updates in Cricut, okay? It's going to happen. We shouldn't like be mad about updates because updates are good. If it weren't for updates, we wouldn't have all the cool new features we have. So you're going to notice on like all these websites and stuff, people are like, there's always an update. And I say it like this, there's always an update. Like, I don't say it like they say it. Maybe that's just me, but I'm always excited about updates. So if you ever have missed one, sorry, y'all, that's starting real early. If you ever have missed an update and want to know what's available, this is where you would do it. Come in here and take a little look. They're all listed for you just like this, okay? So that's in your hamburger menu. I just like to point it out so you guys see it. Now, a couple new things that Cricut has done to their homepage here is there's this search bar right here that used to not be there. If you're new here today or you've worked on Cricut before, this search bar used to not be here. You can now search images right from this page right here. Like, let's say I opened this up and I wanted to make something for Valentine's Day. I can type in Valentine's Day and it's going to start showing me projects for Valentine's Day. This is new. It hasn't always done this. Also, underneath here, y'all, I'm going to have to cough. I apologize. It's just one of those things. Underneath here, you'll see these little tabs. These are where you can kind of jump around from place to place, like everything labels. This is kind of cool. It brings up all these labels. And these are pre-done for you projects. You don't have to design them. You can just click on them and start making them. That's what's so cool about these, okay? Let me arrow back. So that's new, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on it because it's just a little simple thing. The rest of the stuff on your homepage, if you come up here across the top bar, you see my name at the top where it says Welcome Maymay. That's how you can always know if you're signed in or not. If I wasn't signed in, it would just say Welcome. Because I'm signed in, it says my name. Next to that over here, you'll see projects. This is my projects. If I click on this, it takes me straight to all my projects. The reason this is important is because if I'm coming into Design Space and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time looking through things, I just want to go straight to my projects, I can do it just like that. That hasn't always been an option, but I love it as an option. Inside of here, you can do a lot of searching in all these drop downs, but I just wanted to show you the My Project section. Now, another thing that's really important up here on your toolbar is right out here. See where mine says Maker 3? This arrow that drops down. This is so important. If you have more than one machine, you're going to have choices, okay? And your choices matter because if you're signed into your Cricut Joy and you design something on the mat and you go to cut it, but you need to cut it on the Maker, not on the Joy, then it's not going to work because Design Space is thinking that's not the machine you're using. So like for tonight, I made sure I was on the Maker because I want everything I show you guys to be able to go to, big and not be constrained to the size of the Joy. It really only matters where the Joy is concerned, or if you're trying to tell it to do a functionality that one of the other machines won't do. Like the Maker 3, will use Smart Vinyl. Well, if you try to tell it to do that and you have Explorer clicked right here, it's not going to work. I think that makes sense. You got to make sure you have this saying what machine you're using. That's what has to happen. All right, I'm going to go back home because we want to go from here. All right, when you scroll up on the homepage, I want you to think of the homepage as a dashboard. That's really what it is. It's just a dashboard. And you can see that everything is kind of broken out and titled like so. If you want to use the Cricut Mug Press, here's some projects you can click on and start. Organize your life, creative cards, from the community, which is really cool because this is like what I showed you. You can sign in and share your projects. These are other community members that have shared their projects. Also, let's say you come in here and you see this featured image that you want to do later, but not now. You can click on this little button right here, this little save button, and save it for later. Isn't that cool? So even when you're looking through other images, if you're like, you know what, I'm going to need this when it's basketball season, or I'm going to need this when it's Christmas time, you can now save these images, and I'll show you how to access them in just a little bit. They're already asking questions. Hold on. I'm going to get to questions. I'm going to do section, question, section, question, section, question, so I don't lose my train of thought. Okay, so that's what this page is. Let me show you this. When I say that these are projects you can click on and start making, watch this. Let's say you decide you want to make this stackable mug situation. I'm going to click on it. And then I'm going to come down here. I want to show you. It tells you everything you need to make this project. How cool is this? All the materials you need, everything else you're going to need. It gives you step-by-step instructions. I call it the recipe. It tells you exactly what to do to make this project. And if you had all of this information, just like if you look at a recipe for home, if you have all this information, then you just say make it, and it's going to take you directly to make it. Okay? It's not going to take you to the screen. It's not going to take you to anything. It's going to take you directly to make it, and you will just start making. Okay? I'm going to go back and show you how if you wanted to edit it, you could edit it. Let me tell this to cancel. Okay, so this is the same thing clicked, and instead of clicking make it at the bottom right, I'm going to click customize. When I click customize, now I can go in and let's say I want to do some editing. Maybe I don't want it to say the smart one. Maybe I want to come in here and edit this guy out in some way. We're not going to do it today, but you can if you do it this way. If you just say make it, you can't edit, but if you say customize, you can. Let's say that you don't have one of the materials it wants to use. You can change that. Whatever you want to do, you can customize. Okay? Again, right now this is going to feel overwhelming. Just bear with me. It will all click. It will all click eventually. Okay, I promise. All right, so that's the dashboard. Now I see a couple questions. Go ahead, Benny.
Okay, the first question that I saw was, let's see, if you buy one, is it yours to keep?
It goes into your access, and you can use it in your access as long as you, yeah, as long as you, yeah, it stays in your access.
And how do you add to your projects?
That comes up when we start saving things. I'll show you. Anytime you build something on your own and you save it, it becomes your project. So that's just where they go into that category.
And then Miss Mackey says her screen looks nothing like yours.
You might need to update. Sometimes that happens. It's unusual that an update gets past you, but sometimes it will. And people have told me that. And another reason it doesn't look like mine, some people say that my resolution is bigger. Like you may be seeing part of the screen, not all of the screen. So it could be that. Was there another question?
No, that was all that we had so far.
All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to start a project. Now, you have a couple places. This is one thing Cricut does. It gives you multiple places to start projects, okay? You can go right here and do a new project, or you can come to the top of the screen and click new project. I'm going to do it down here. I always tend to look for this plus sign and just click the plus, okay? Now, where everything gets, this is where everybody panics. Don't panic. This is the easy stuff, okay? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color of the screen because you guys always tell me that it's hard to see it when I'm working in the white screen. So I'm going to change the color. So I'm going to come down here to the bottom, and where in the bottom right it says blank canvas, I'm going to click on that. And then at the top, when you click on blank canvas, you'll see up here at the top middle, I get this option that says color. I'm going to click color. And I'm going to change that to this pale green. Now, you can do this, like if you don't like the white screen, if it bothers you, you can do the same thing and change it to whatever color is more comfortable for your eye. So if you need to do that, you can. The other thing I'm going to do is teach you a secret trick. I don't like the grid. Some people love the grid, but the grid is not my favorite. So I'm going to come up here between the zeros. You have a 0 and a 0 in the top left. You can see that up here. There's a little square. If you click that little square, the grid goes away. I prefer it gone. Some people like it. Now, as I'm teaching tonight, I'm going to flip back and forth, and it's probably going to go away. You have bought it for 99 cents. It is yours to use, and as far as I know, it's for as long as you want to use it. It doesn't expire. That's all that question, because it's still image related. But we'll get to images in just a little bit. So I took the grid away. Now I can bring the grid back by clicking again, but this time, look, it brings it back in like the 1-inch cubes, or I can click it again and bring it back in like the tiny grid. See that? But I like it gone. Okay, so here's how tonight's going to go. I'm going to go through each one of these functions, okay? I'm going to go through on the bottom right, each one of those functions, and we're going to go through every function at the top of the page. That's what we're going to do. And we are going to take some potty breaks because we'll need them. So we'll have them from here and there. So let's start with the first one. I'm going to start with templates, okay? Not my favorite thing. I found out from some people they love them, but they're not my favorite thing. So this is the top option in the top left, templates. I'm going to show you, when you click on templates, what happens is all these images pop up. Let's say you're working on a pair of shorts, athletic shorts, and you want to put like something vinyl on there, okay? You can click right here, and supposedly you can build right here on this template what you want to do. This basically becomes like a canvas for you, so you know whatever you build right here will fit on the leg of that short, okay? Up here, you can change the length, you can change the size, etc. Now, let me tell you why I don't like these. I don't care how good Cricut is, it does not know what size shorts I have. You know what I'm saying? So if I build a design on these shorts here and then go cut it, it may not fit. So I don't use templates, but some people do, okay? One thing I do know is if you use a template, you have to start a new project to get rid of it. No matter what you do, this template stays on the screen. But what I do is I measure my parameters myself and make it myself. But some people use this, and I just wanted to show y'all that they exist. Let me go back and do another one so you can see another one. I'm changing my screen. Remember I told you when I bounce around the screen is going to change some? That's what that was. Let's go back to templates. Again, are you working on a bowl? Are you working on a dishwasher? Are you working on your Cricut bag? You can click on these and use these templates if you want, but I don't. I will show you what we do instead. Okay? How you lost, Heidi? New project. Click on new project. Click on new project. Okay. So any questions about templates? I don't spend any time on this. I do not spend any time on this. I can't get my arrow to stay larger. I don't know what's going on with it. It's acting up. It used to be larger, but it's not staying larger. I will make sure I'm saying where we are I'll make sure I'm saying left hand, right hand. I'll make sure I'm pointing it out. I'm just waiting on questions about templates.
I'm seeing you right now.
Okay. You probably won't use templates. Once you learn this, you're going to learn like me that I don't know why they still have them. I think that it's one of those things that'll go away. All right. Let's move to projects. So I'm in the left-hand menu. You can see where my cursor's spinning. Left-hand menu. We're going to go down to projects. That's the next option on the left-hand menu. Corinne, are you on a computer or are you on an iPad? That's another reason you might see something different than me. I'm on my computer. All right, in projects, this is where you can come if you just want to get started with a project. Okay, you don't want to design a project. You want something done for you, but you kind of know what you want to do. Okay, let's come up with a project. Benny, what kind of project could we make? Want to do something for hunting?
Sure.
Okay, check this out. On the project screen, you can go to the top right and you see where it says search projects. I'm going to type in hunting and just see what pops up. And listen, there are over 100,000 images. There's no oh, Easter eggs. That's what pops
That's
up.
one kind of hunting.
That's cute. All right, let's just put in hunt. And let's put in deer. You'll see there'll be a bunch of deer. So you see all this. So let's say I wanted to make vent something with deer on it. Look at my options. There's a lot of options of deer things, you see. And you can do anything you want. But let's say that I went, this is a cool pillow. I'm going to make this pillow for Vince. This is a place where I can come right here. A sweet wife. And look, it's already ready. It gives me all my instructions and I can just make it. But even, remember how I told you a while ago, if I wanted to customize it and maybe I wanted to add his name, if I click on customize, I can. So just because a project is what it says it is doesn't mean you can't change it. But the reason I'm showing you projects is so you'll understand what it is. Now, you probably won't go there very often. When you're ready to make a project, you're probably going to be making something on your own. You're probably going to be making something from the dashboard. The thing is, Cricut just gives us multiple ways to get to different things, and that's basically what this is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get me a new canvas by clicking New and Start Fresh. Somebody asked how to change the color. Watch this. Bottom right of the screen says Blank Canvas. I'm going to click that. Top middle, it says Color. I'm going to click Green. I just do that so y'all can see. Okay? All right, we're on to the third thing. And you're like, this is going too fast. Trust me, you don't want me to spend time in those two things. That's why we're going fast. Trust me. This is where you want me to start spending time. Not here, really, here. But images. All right, so I'm sitting down to make a project, and I'm like, I got a baby shower coming up. I want to make something for a baby boy. I'm going to click on images. I'm looking for a bottle. I type in bottle in search. Okay. Let's see how many images we get. Come on, internet. Here we go. Look at all these images that we get. I can choose any of these I want. Okay. Let me show you what I really love. Each of these images, this works for projects, everything. I want to show you how this works. Okay. Each of these images has some information on it right here where you're looking. So let's start with this little pill bottle. In the top left of this image, you'll see that A. That A means it's included in Access. I'm an Access member. I have the premium account. So that means I will not have to pay to use this image, okay? Because I'm an Access member, all right? If you're not an Access member, you would have to pay for this image. That's what that A means. It's in Access or you'll have to pay for it, okay? These three little dots right here on every image, you'll notice they all have them. You can click them. And what it's going to do is it'll tell you that it is a bottle. That's the name of it. And here's what's really cool. You see this hashtag number right here? Hashtag M24BO blah, blah. Let's say you're making a project or let's say you're going to, maybe there's a product you make that you make all the time and you need the same image all the time. If you copy this image and put it into the search, it will come to this very image all the time. Okay? Also, if you copy this image or copy this number and send it to a friend, they can access it just exactly the same way. They just go and put it in the search and it comes to the same image every time. So that's kind of cool. You may find a spot where you want to use that. That's like maybe you make those baby elephants and like you use the same image on the boy elephant and the same image on the girl. You can save that image with that hashtag number. Okay. Now let's say this. Let's say, I really like this image. I'd like to see more like it. Back in the day, it was a cartridge. Now it's an image set. Okay. So every one of these guys, if you click on those three dots, will give you this option. You can pick view image sets. Okay. When you click view image sets, everything that's like it, see there's that pill bottle, but everything that's on the cartridge it came from will pop up. So you don't even have to go find out what the cartridge is and search it out. That's just how you see it. Now I'm going to go back. Let me type bottle in. Okay. I'm going to go back to that, the three dots. Oh, sorry. I'm in the image set. I need to go back. I need to go way back. Let me go back to just images. What did I do? How did I get out of there? I don't want to be in image sets. Why are you doing this to me? Hello?
I don't know.
I don't know either. It shouldn't be doing just image sets. Because I don't have any filters on. Oh, I can cancel. That's why. I didn't see the cancel at the bottom. Okay. It's still taking me. Okay, this is a new one for me, y'all. Oh, I'm in a category. All categories. Let's see if that'll help. All right, this is crazy. Somehow I've gotten stuck. I'm going to start a new project. I don't know why that did that. Okay, I'm out of it. I'm sorry. I don't know why that did that, but I had to start over. Okay. So let's type bottle again. Let's go back where we were and finish talking about that one. All right, so here's the 3 dots that we were talking about. We saw the title of this image, the hashtag number to find it later, the view image sets, and then down here, see where it says subscribed? That means I'm subscribed to Access. I can use this image. And this little guy right here is the save button. Now here's what I like about it. We just said we're looking for a project for a baby shower, okay? And I clicked on bottle. So I'm going to scroll through. This guy's cute. Let's click him. Now I want you to see what happens. When I click him, he comes down in the bottom right hand down here next to cancel and add to canvas, and you'll see him sitting down here. I call this the shopping cart. Let me show you why. Let's go. He's cute, but I don't know if I want him. Let me see if there's something else I want. And then I'm like, oh, this little guy's cute. Let me select him. Look, he also comes to the bottom right into the shopping cart. He's just sitting there waiting on me, okay? Then, if I come up here and I keep going, I can go, oh man, look at that little glue bottle. I don't want that for tonight, but I would probably like to use this image. So I'm going to click that little ribbon right there. And look at the top. It says image saved, view all. Don't worry about the view all. Image saved. That means it took that image and saved it in my saved file, which we'll get to in a little bit, okay? But I don't have, it's not putting it on down here for me to use tonight. Now you're like, why are you showing us this? Trust me, this is cool stuff. When you get working with your machine and you start making projects and you're like, man, you remember that night we were looking and we saw that image that looked like this and now I can't find it, or that was really something I really liked. I love the save image. So you can click that little save. All right, I'm going to click one more bottle and show you something else that I think is cool that I promise you later down the road you're going to be like, this was interesting. Okay, so now I have 3 images in the bottom right in my little cart down here at the bottom, okay? But now I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, I don't like this first one, so watch what happens. If I hover over it, a little red X pops up. If I click it, it will delete it, so it does not go to the canvas in just a second, okay? Notice the second one. I'm like, I don't really think I like that one either. I'm going to red X it out. So now the only one left is this little blue bottle. So if I click add to canvas, that's the only one going with me. And that's what I want. Now, if I wasn't sure and I wanted to look at all those other ones, you can put all of them on the screen. Like, let me show you. We'll go get some. Oh, wrong thing. Didn't want to hit text. We'll go get some more. So I'll click this one. I'll click this one. I'll click this one. They're all down here in my little shopping cart. And I'm going to say add to canvas. They'll all come in. And you got to be prepared for this because they come in. When they come in, they come in. All right, so see them all? And watch, if I go to move them, see how they're grouped together? That's because I didn't click off. So if I click off like this, now I can just grab each one. So if you're wanting to look at multiple images at one time, you can bring them into Canvas at one time. I typically don't, okay? It depends. If I'm maybe, sometimes I might. But like for today's project, I don't need these, so we're going to get rid of them. I'm just going to select them all real quick and delete them. We'll come back. I'll talk functionality of that in a second. Don't stress. Okay, so we found one image. That's where we find them. So if you're getting ready to make a project and you're like, where do I go find images? Where did she tell me to go find images? That's where. Click on images. That is pretty much what you find in there. The cool thing about images too that I want to point out before I take questions is how much searchability there is. Okay, look, there's over 232,000 images. You don't want to spend all night looking in images. So what you do is you filter them down. Okay. Let's say you want to look at by project type. This is your whole filters option. All of these things will filter. Okay. So if you look right here, it says project type. If you hit the plus beside it, if you're doing a 3D project, if you're doing cards, if you're doing phrases, if you're working on mugs, you can narrow this down by clicking one of these, and it's going to filter out anything that's not a 3D project. So now we went from 200,000 to 1,900. Isn't that a lot better? Isn't that a lot better? I think it is. Okay. So if you don't want that, unclick it. It's going to go back to where it was, 200,000. You can look by operation type. If you want to cut, if you want to draw, if you want to print and cut, if you want to cut and draw, you can do it by layers. So see, these are just filters. You know how to search with filters? That's all that is, just to take your time of searching down. But we love that. We love that we have that option. All right, I'm going to cancel this. So right now you're thinking, she just told me a bunch of nothing. That is not true. You think that, but when you start working in here, you're going to love that I showed you what all those functions were, because they will make sense. All right, we've gone through templates, we've gone through projects, we've gone through images. Let's look at text. This is what y'all want to know. All right, a couple of things I want to tell you before we get to clicky clicking here is this. Right now, the image on my screen, this bottle, is not selected. It's important you understand what I'll be saying for the next little bit, okay? Selected is when I have clicked it and there's a box around it. Did you see how the box came up? That means it's selected, okay? If I say to you, I'm going to click off of this image, here's what that means. I move my cursor out and I click in the blank area, and you see how the box went away? Now that image is not selected. As we start to do the next functions, it's important you understand selected versus not selected, okay? Because right now, anything I tell Cricut to do, it's like where? Where do you want me to do it? Nothing is selected. Nothing on your mat is selected, okay? So for example, here's our image, and we go up to the top, and we see this bar with all these options of things we can do to it, but they're grayed out. That is because the image is not selected, okay? And it's important I tell you that now, because as we get going, that'll need to clear up for you. Now, let me show you this. If you only have one, not only one, but you can select everything on the mat at one time just by clicking select all. That may come in handy at some point. There may be a time when you can't see everything or something that you're doing and you want to select everything at one time. That's the way you can do it. I don't ever really use that function, but it is available. So like if I click it right now, it's going to select this because that's what I have on the mat, right? Okay, so now you know how to select and unselect. Select and unselect. When you select an image, here's some more things I want to point out before we get too into this. Every image that you select will have 4 buttons beside it. See these buttons? Button number 1 is a delete button. So if you click that X, it goes away. See, I deleted it. If that ever happens and you don't mean for it to, watch this. This arrow at the top left is called undo. Click undo. It's my favorite thing. I use undo more than anything. We actually go undo, undo, undo. It's like our thing, okay? So I'm going to select this image again. Now when I have it selected, we know what that button is. Let's talk about this button. This one's pretty easy to use. This little button, if you click on it and you pull it down like this, it rotates. And notice that it's rotating it like easy, like evenly, right? That's what we like. It's nice and smooth, okay? Now, I told you before, Cricut gives you multiple places to do things, and I told you that I'm going to tell you what every one of these functions up here do, okay? And here's the first place we're going to look at a function up there and see that we can do it here also. You can rotate with this button, or you can rotate here by clicking up on the arrow. This is in the middle top where it says rotate, or down on this arrow. Or maybe I want to lay it over sideways, and I know that is, oh, I'm the wrong one. Let me do this one. Maybe I want to lay it 90 degrees. I can type in 90. I hardly ever use this rotate option. I'm a person who typically grabs this little dot here and moves it that way. All right, so we've taught two functions here, delete, rotate. This little guy right here is very important. He is a lock. Do you see that little lock? If you click him, he unlocks. Now he can make or break a project because if I unlock him, I want you to see if you notice this. See when I unlock him, watch this arrow on the right hand side right here. Watch this. See how it turns to 4? If I lock it, it's 2. If I unlock it, it's 4. Watch what happens. When it's locked and it's 2, when I stretch this guy out, this is the stretch button, by the way, stretch. He stretches proportionately. That's good. Okay, you want him to stretch proportionally a lot of the times. If I unlock this and I stretch this button, watch this. He stretches like this. And you can easily lose a project that way. Like, I don't want him to look like that, right? So what do? Everybody say it, undo. You don't have to type it. I'm just saying, everybody say it, undo. All right, so I undid him. I want to make him bigger so you can see him. So if I unlock him, it changes proportionally. If I leave him locked, it changes proportionally. It just depends on which way you want it to go. Now, can I do this in multiple places? Yes, because Cricut does that for us. So we have these buttons here, but if you follow me to the top middle, where it says size on this menu, I can change here, and sometimes this is your best friend. I really like to change here a lot because let's say I'm making a project and I want this bottle to be 3 inches by 6 inches. I just know I want it to be that way. If I come up here, I can type in my measurements. Now here's something important. If I type in 3 inches here, okay, in the width, and this lock is locked, it's going to give me 3 inches here also. Watch what happens. 3, hit enter. Oh no, it did it proportionally. So I'm not telling you the truth, obviously. So 3 inches on this side. Now I'm going to unlock this little lock. I'm going to click that little button and it will unlock it. Just like down here. Did you see how it did it? Cricut gives us that functionality in 2 places. So you can unlock that little lock. Let me get back there. You can unlock it or lock it here or in this button. With it unlocked, I'm going to tell it 6 and hit enter. Now my bottle is 3 by 6 inches and I changed it right here in the size. Isn't that neat? That way you don't have to, let me show you this. If you wanted to resize it using these little grids on the screen, you would get such a headache doing that. You don't have to do that. Now, can I stretch it and use these numbers that move up and down on the side? You can, but why? Not when you can just go right up here and change it, right? So I'm going to unlock it and change that back to 3 by 6, just because, so you can see me do it again. And all you do is type in there what you want. Okay? What else about images? Okay, so we're still in the image section. So we're working on this image. I want you, we've looked at all the buttons around this guy. Now what I want you to do is follow my cursor far right. This is what's called your layers panel, okay? When you have an image selected, I want you to notice this. I'm going to deselect this image, but I want you watching the layers panel. Watch what happens. See how that image went white instead of dark gray? But when I select it, it's gray. Okay, I'm going to add another one of these to the mat. Don't worry about this. I'm going to teach you this in a second, but I just want to get 2 on here so you can see this. Okay, all right, neither of them are selected. You keep an eye on the layers panel. When I click this guy, look what happens. All of these pieces that are now gray belong to that image. These belong to him. Okay, if I click the other bottle, watch the layers panel. All of these images are now selected because they go gray. That means anything I'm changing is in this layers panel. Does that make sense? I think it does. I think if I show you like that, okay? So whichever one you click on is going to be the one you're working on in the layers panel. Now, if I click on this guy, notice how all of them go gray. That's because they are grouped together, okay? I want to show you this. We have 2 pieces here, okay? I've selected number 1 right here. I'm going to go to the top right of the layers panel. See that word that says ungroup? I'm going to click ungroup. When I do that now, notice what the layers panel did. This bottle changed the shape. See that it all changed? This one is still grouped. If I click it, it goes right here. Now if I click number 1, watch what happens. Look, it only selected 1 piece. See that? Because it's ungrouped. Now it selected that piece. Now it selected this piece. You see? The little highlight. let's say I want to click on this little eyeball, but I struggle to get to it or something like that. Or let's say I want to get to that little eyeball. If you come to the layers panel, do you notice that there's this black right here? That's a background. So if I want to get that black, I can click it here. And now that has selected it, okay? And I can arrow move it out so you can see it. See it there? Or, I'm going to undo that. Or I can move these things out of the way. I'm not as big a fan of that. Sometimes it depends. I can move those things out of the way now because I've ungrouped it and I can see what all my pieces look like. Isn't that cool? Okay. One more thing about the layers panel, and then I'm going to take questions before we move to the next thing. Over here in the layers panel, I want you to see this. Beside each image, there's an eyeball. Remember I didn't ungroup this guy? I left him grouped together. Watch this. If I turn off the eyeball at the top where it's the title, he goes away. Because what I'm saying is I don't want to see him on my mat. Now I didn't delete him. I just closed my eye to him. Just said he's going away. Okay. If I come back over here and turn the eye back on, he's back. Now, do you see what just happened? Do you see how I got this black layer? This is perfect timing to show you this. If you come back over here, like let's click on him. And if I come back to this layers panel, look, there's a black layer that was turned off. If I turn his eye off, it goes away. And you see that down here that it's turned off. Again, I see people saying they're lost. Listen to me. You're lost because you're not making a project. I'm showing you functionalities, okay? When you take this information back to your Cricut to use it, you're going to be like, I know what that button does. I know what that button does. I know what that. That's what we're learning is what every function does. So I don't want you to think of this as a project. We're not making a project tonight. You're not having to learn how to use project material. You're learning how to use every function on this dashboard. And I promise you, when you go back to your workspace, when you go to make anything, you're going to be like, yep, Maymay taught me what that eyeball does. She taught me what that ungroup does. She taught me what that delete does. And that's when you're going to be empowered, okay? So don't feel lost. Just know that's how the class is. That's what I said in the very beginning. If you weren't here in the beginning, I said you're going to feel overwhelmed. But I promise you, it won't be when the class makes sense. I promise it won't. So don't feel lost. Okay. That's like somebody saying, don't feel sad. No, you're going to feel sad. All right, I'm going to take questions up to this point, okay? So up to this point, I'm going to take questions. So go ahead and start typing your questions in. And I'm going to answer every single one that gets asked. And after this, I want to show you a feature down here. Remember, while you're typing your questions, I'm going to say this again. Design Space 101, in the product description, I said, I'm going to teach you how to use every function in Design Space 101. It will all click when you start playing. But if you don't know what these functions do, you won't play. You won't touch them, you know?
Okay, other than the lost people, we ain't got no questions. And then we did have, and I know this is not really a question. Susan was talking about if you are not a paid member, you'll be charged for the images, I guess.
There are some free. Let's talk about that. People get salty about images. Okay? I'll go ahead and discuss it. Okay? There are some free images in Cricut. There are some free shapes. There are some free images. There are some things you can use for free. Cricut itself has images that they sell, just like when we have machines with cartridges. It's no different. We used to buy cartridges, and we used to spend a lot on cartridges. Hello. I had one cartridge. I shouldn't say it in front of Vince. I had one cartridge that was $79. It had 700 images on it, but it was $79. Okay, hold on. Hold on. So, I have to finish this thought. Now we don't buy those cartridges. Instead, we have this subscription, okay? On top of that, that's the Cricut images, okay, that you can subscribe to. On top of that, there are images that are licensed images. This makes people a little upset too. They're like, well, if I got access, why do I got to pay for these licensed images? Okay, listen, Disney is not going to give Cricut their images. They will sell them to them and let them use them and pay a licensing fee that they then give to us to pay that licensing fee. So they are not free. So like Disney, Anna Griffin, there's several other image sets in there that are licensed. You have to pay for those. Okay, so you have free you have Cricut Access, and then you have licensed images. Now, I want to say this to you about images. Just because you pay to use a Disney image in Cricut or an Anna Griffin image in Cricut, you are not buying commercial rights to that image. That doesn't mean you can go out and put it on t-shirts and sell it on Etsy, because Disney will shut you down. Okay? They are good at
They
it.
don't play.
They don't play. If you have to pay a licensing fee to do that through Disney if you want to commercial it. What you're getting on Cricut is the licensed ability to use it in your private projects at home. Okay. So yes, it's all in how you look at it. Back in the day, we bought cartridges. Today, we have access. That's how I see it. But people get upset about it. Here, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. While people are asking questions, I know there's one. Don't. I say this in every class. Tamitha's going to laugh. I say this in every class. Don't take the mindset of the masses. Because let me tell you what I have discovered. I go on Cricut Facebook groups all the time. I'm on the Cricut stuff reading what people are saying. And that's the reason I did this class. I'm like, if I could just show you, you wouldn't be upset. It works. You just don't know how to use it. So if we step back and look at what Cricut can do for us for very little money, I think we can see the value in it. I guess that's it. What did they used to teach us in car sales? It was value.
You have to create a value.
You have to create the value in something. And I think there's value in a 99-cent image. I didn't have to go pay $40 for a cartridge to get one image. I did that a lot of times. A lot of times. So anyway, not really soapboxing, but it's true. All right, next.
Okay, so you got a bunch of different questions there once you started that.
Okay.
Open that can. Oh. Okay, so how did the black come up? Was Teresa Rowland's first question.
Okay, I'm going to show you that real quick because I know that can be confusing. Let me go back. Remember how I was showing you the eyeball? Okay. Remember how, if we go back to the layers panel, I'm going to select this bottle number 2, I'm going to select it. If we go to the layers panel, and I was showing you that eyeball, many times when you bring a project, when you bring an image in, they're going to have that base layer. Remember when we had cartridges back in the day and you always had that base layer that was a little larger than the image and you always could cut that one too? What they do now is they don't let that one have its eye on. So if I come over here in this layers panel and I turn the eye on, that base layer comes back. See that? But when it comes in, 90% of the time, that eye is going to be turned off on that one particular layer. And that's just a new Cricut. I mean, that's just the way Cricut's doing it now with that base, with the layers. That may be confusing. You probably won't mess with that too awful much. Next.
Next is, does the plus in the middle just mean it's selected?
Yes. Yes. It also is the center axis. The center axis. In a 102, 103 class situation, this little, I call that a cross, what's that called? A crosshair? I call that a crosshair right there. Has to do with this position it is on the mat. If you look at the top right under Untitled, it says position X and Y axis. That pinpoints in the middle what its X and Y axis is. Trust me, you'll never, ever, ever care about that. You won't use this and you won't care about that. But it's a good, you see it, so you want to know what it is. I agree.
Then Shannon wants to know, how do we get it to go back like before it was ungrouped, if that makes sense.
I do, I either undo arrow, I either do the undo option. So let me turn it back on. Okay, so I either undo or I come over here to the layers panel and I look and see if the eye is on or off, and I turn the eye on or off.
Okay. Karen Parsons asked, where do you go to customize?
We're fixing to do that.
We're almost there.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the layers your different colors Vinyl?
That is correct. Your layers have to do with colors or shapes. It's going to depend. Mostly with Cricut, it's colors. You can see here that this one, if you come over here in the layer, you see it's the light blue layer. This is the pink layer. Notice it's two pieces, but it's what is cut pink. Now, I'm not going to do it right now, okay? But if I changed this, if I changed the color of one of these pieces, then, and we'll do that in a minute, and I can show y'all how that functionality works, then it would change it here as well. But you're right, these coincide with the color here. Now, not your vinyl, because I'm going to tell you something. This is interesting. This is blue right here. Okay, this shape is blue. But if I put green vinyl on my mat, what color is it going to cut, Vinny? Hear what I said? It's
No.
blue on the screen. I'm using you because Vinny's never taken this class. It's blue on the screen. If I put green vinyl on my mat, what color is it going to cut?
It's going to cut what color's there, right?
If there's green vinyl on my mat, what color is it going to cut?
Green.
That's right, because it's going to cut what I put on the mat.
Right.
So even if I got it blue up here, but I know I want it green, what matters is what I put on the mat.
Okay. And then I think this is more of a clarification. It says when you break something up, you pick out the color and then cut it out and then put it together. Am I understanding?
That is correct.
Okay. And then will the base layer still cut the image?
If the eyeball is turned off, it will not cut. Basically, if you don't see it here, it's not going to cut. So, but if they're so, like for example, if I don't want that black layer behind this little guy right here, if I want to like put glitter there or something else, I can turn it off with the eye and it won't cut. So yeah, if you don't see it on here, it's not going to cut.
Okay, I think that's all that I had.
Perfect. Okay. Now let's talk about
one. I'm sorry, I missed this one. I had to have over 100 cartridges imported. I think that's no, that ain't it. Sorry. Hold on. Some of my projects I purchased and uploaded to Design Space long ago no longer show up on my account. Has the upload changed?
Were they on your account before, or were they old projects you had in Cricut Craft Room?
That's Debbie Phillips.
So can I make a T-shirt with Disney for a Christmas gift or birthday? Yes, but you can't sell it. You can gift it, but you can't sell it.
And then, is there a limit to how many you can store?
You know, Cricut said something about doing that, but then they didn't do it. So at this point, I don't think there could be. Okay, let me address that too. I don't know at this point, but here's what I can tell you. Cricut pays for bandwidth. They pay for cloud space, basically. And they have a lot of members coming on every day. And so at some point in time, that's going to cost the consumer money. What'd you say just the other day? Everybody I buy from charges me a credit card fee.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
we don't charge one.
No,
but
but
everybody else does.
everybody you buy from. And it's kind of like that. At some point in time, they've got so much stored that they're paying for. At some point in time, the consumer's going to have to eat that. Cricut's just going to have to do it. They didn't. They tried it, and it caused an uproar. But at some point in time, that's a cost to do a business you can't even afford anymore. I mean, at some point in time, you're selling machines and images that aren't going to cover all that cloud space. Think how many people are using this software. You know what I'm saying? So at some point in time, for sure, that's going to be a thing, I think. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if there is. So I'm sorry, Tam. I wish I knew for sure. There was going to be, but I don't think they did it. Or maybe they did limit it. I'll look at the end of class. I know where to look, so I'm making a note. Look for limits. Tamitha, if you could message Melody Lane and ask her for me, that'd be awesome. Okay. So back to functionality. Here's what, remember guys, right now we're not talking about the project itself. We're talking about, you're going to see more of how the project works when we start putting it on a mat and all that kind of stuff. Right now I'm just showing you functionality, okay? Because I want to show you what these buttons do. All right,
Debbie responded. She said they were on my account before, but SVGs were from a different company.
That's interesting. I don't know. That's I don't understand that one. But I will tell you this, Cricut has really good customer service. You can call them and see what the deal is. And also if you bought the SVGs from another company, you probably still have the download. If you need help with that, email Shannon at maymaymadeit.com and I will help you dig in and see what we can find. Because there's a lot of answers to it. All right, let's keep going. So we now know, let's back up. I want to show you what you now know. You now know what templates are. You now know what projects are. You now know where to find images. You now know what this select all button is. You also know how to select an image on your mat. You know what all 4 of these buttons mean. You also know what size means in this area. You know what rotate means. You even know what position means. You know what the layers panel is. You know how to group and ungroup. Did you see that? We ungrouped up here. We can group back right next to it. You know that. You know what this eyeball means. Look how much you know already. Look how much you know. All right, if y'all don't mind, I want to clear my screen of some stuff. Let me show you something else that you're going to love. There's a lot of ways to select images on the mat. You can click it, okay? Notice if I click this one, and then I come over here and click this one, it goes away from this one. If you want to select multiple things on the mat and you're using a computer, let me show you what you can do. You can click one image. I'm going to click the blue bottle on the left-hand side of the screen. I'm going to click this little guy. Then on my keyboard, I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to come over here and click one of the other images. See how now it's selecting them both? I know they're selected because there's a box around them, but I can also look in the layers panel and see it right here as well. See how they grayed out? Now I'm going to select all of this. All of these little pieces that I don't need, I have selected basically this whole guy right here, and I can delete them by just clicking this X up here in the top left. Remember, we learned about that button. Or if you're this person, you can hit delete on your keyboard and they will go away. Okay? Now I want to do something else. I want to bring that back. So that's one way to delete. You can click them individually and delete them individually. But let's say that, like, let's see. Don't watch this because you don't know this yet. So you don't know what I'm doing. Let's say that as you're playing around one day, this happens and you're like, where'd that pink layer go? I know there was a pink layer and I don't need it. I want to get rid of it. Remember, go to your layers panel, okay? And I see that pink layer right here. I'm going to click it. Sure enough, it got put behind that black layer. But I don't want it, so I want to delete it. So I can just hit delete and it's gone. So see, now it's not in my layers panel. It's gone. So there's multiple ways to delete stuff on the screen. Also, let's say you have this. This is going to happen to you guys. This is the kind of stuff you're going to be like, I cannot believe she knew this was going to happen. See this little highlight? At some point in time, he's going to end up behind something. And you're going to be like, where did that little guy go? He was on this mat. I know I had him on this mat. Just use your layers panels. Come over here and click. Oh, he's behind there. That's where he is. You see what I'm saying? At some point in time, that stuff's going to happen to you. All right, I'm going to delete everything. Y'all, I promise you, you're overwhelmed. You won't be when you go to play. You'll be like, oh, this makes sense. All right, let's get into some good functions. Good functions. Number 1, duplicate, okay? To duplicate an image, all you have to do is to duplicate Okay, what is an image? Let me do this. You think that all these things in this folder over here are images, but this is also an image. And if I ungroup it, now each piece of it becomes an image. You see what I'm saying? This is an image, this is an image, this is an image. All right? So when we're working with them, we have to remember that. These are all images. All right, I need to group this back together. So to do that, I'm going to select the whole thing by clicking and dragging over the whole thing and click and group. That's pretty common. Y'all seen that before. Let's duplicate it. I'm going to click on it. I have selected it. It has the square around it. I'm going to go to the top right of the screen and click duplicate. Okay? When you click duplicate, you get another one. Let's say I want more than one. I can keep clicking duplicate. Duplicate, 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 duplicate. Okay? Again, we're learning functionalities. So look at all these I've made. Now what's happened to my layers panel? Watch this. If I go over to it and scroll with my mouse, look what's happened. I have a lot of them. You see? All the pieces are there. So I can see all their individual pieces. They're right over there. The one I have selected is grayed out. See it? Or actually grayed in, I should say. So let's say I want to show you another functionality, okay? Let's say I have a whole bunch of these selected and I would like to line them up in a line and I want them to distribute evenly. Maybe I want to do snowflakes across the middle of a t-shirt, right? And I put like 5 snowflakes on my mat and I want to make a straight line. Watch what we can do. We can separate them on the mat. I'm going to move this guy all the way out here. I'm separating 2 images. Bottle number 1 and bottle number, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and bottle number 6. Okay, I've separated them out. Now what I want to do is I want to select everything on my screen. Now that's because I want to select all 6 bottles. Now I have a couple of ways to do it. I can click right over here in the screen, just off of an image, and drag a box and grab everybody just like that. Okay, I'm not going to. I want to show you another way. Remember that time I told you you could use this button that says select all in the top? I'm going to click select all, and now I've got them all. Okay, now watch this. Up here in our menu bar at the top, this section, I'm going to go really, I'm going to like waving. This section where you see align, arrange, and flip. First off, let me tell you, these functionalities are functionalities you'll find on your iPad and everything else. I'm going to teach you what each one does because it'll make sense. So even on your iPad, you'll be like, oh, I know what that does. Okay, so let's use align first. I'm going to do the drop down at align. Look at my options. I could align all these guys to the left. I can center horizontally. I can align them to the right. I can align them to the top. I can center them vertically. I can align them to the bottom. I can center them. The best thing is they give me this little thing. I'm really bad at horizontal and vertical. I'm a card maker. So I do landscape and portrait like that. It's kind of like how I do math. I can do landscape and portrait like that. But horizontal and vertical, which are the same thing, I struggle with. But because they give me these little images here, it lets me know how they're going to line up, and I love that, okay? So what I want to do, as we talked about, I want these guys to run in a straight line across my t-shirt, let's say, or across the gift bag or whatever or the card, whatever I'm putting them on. So what I want to do is I want to center them vertically. See, I did it again. I want to center them.
Horizon.
Yeah. It makes sense. So I want to center them, but see, that's not what I'm doing. I'm centering them this way. Is this what I'm doing? Yes, I centered them vertically. Okay. I don't know why, because it doesn't make sense, but that's the one I did. I did it based on the picture. I want that center line to run through them. See that? So that's the one I chose. Now I want them to be distributed evenly, but I don't want to have to like click this little guy and move him out and click, because then I'm just going to mess up my centering, right? Let me undo that. So what I'm going to do now is select everybody, and I'm going to go back up here to align and look at this bottom menu. This is called distribute horizontally and distribute vertically. Look how cool this is. You ready for this? I'm going to distribute them horizontally and watch what happens. Look how cool that is. I had 7 bottles. Not surprised. So my 7 bottles are now lined up perfectly straight and perfectly even, and I didn't have to do anything but that. Isn't that cool? I love those functionalities, okay? You will find places to use these. I just want to teach you all of this. All right, let me show you this. Okay. Let's say I want to do something with these 2 images, and I want to put this guy on top of this guy. But you see how he keeps going behind? I'm like, why is he going behind? I don't want him to go behind. I want him to go in front. These are the kind of things that are going to frustrate you at midnight when you got no help, right? So what you do when that happens, first off, here's what you need to know. With Cricut, the last image you put on the screen is the furthest one to you, is the one on top. Whatever you add last is on top, okay? So I added this guy first, so he's underneath everybody. See that? But I want to bring him to the front. So I'm going to go back to that same panel up here at the top, right next to align, you see arrange. When I click it down, look what all you get. Send to the back, move backward, move forward, and send to the front. These are huge. There will be times you need them. I'm going to click send to the front. Send to the front moves him all the way forward, okay? I won't tonight because it will just confuse you. This is deep. But you can move backward like one layer. The reason he won't work right now is everybody's grouped together. They're not in layers. They're all grouped. You know, if I click on them, I'm getting each bottle. Y'all understand that? But if they weren't grouped, I could move them in layers. So you have that functionality too. Send to the back, move backward, move forward, or move to the front. Y'all probably are familiar with that. You've probably used that in other softwares. Okay, so that is this set, not completely. Let me come here. So I'm going to select another bottle, okay? Actually, let me select all these guys. This will be funny. I'm going to select them all, okay? Now, in the same section we're working on, align, arrange, and flip. See, flip is our next functionality there. I want you to watch this highlight on the bottle. Do you see that highlight that's on the bottom of the bottle? Watch it. I'm going to go to flip, and I'm going to tell it to flip horizontally. Did you see what happened? It flipped over there. But actually, the highlight didn't flip. The whole bottle flipped. The whole image flipped. Okay? We just flipped the image horizontally. But because this image is kind of even, it's hard to know. You just see that go. But I'll show you another way. If I flip them vertically, watch what happens. They go upside down. So simple functionalities you'll use over time. That's all those are. Okay? All right, I want to delete a bunch of these guys. Y'all know how to do that. We'll select them, get rid of them. Let's just work with this one guy. Okay, we have been going for an hour, and we typically take a 5-minute potty break at the hour. So we're going to take a potty break.
I would say you done had a request for
yes.
time.
Oh, did I? We're going to take a potty break. We take a 5-minute-er, and it is 7:38. Let's come back right at 7:45. Okay. While we take the potty, I'm going to take a potty break, and then when I come back, if you have questions in the middle you want to ask, you can do that during break time, because this does stay on the video, so we try to keep some of that in this time. I'm going to take a 5-minute voice break.
Okay.
No. You have an oatmeal cream pie? You don't want that? You can do that. By the time he gets here, we'll be almost done. We'll eat it right here before we leave. Vinny's hungry, wants dinner. Melinda, perfect question, and we're going to get to that in just a second. We're still in the very basic functionalities at this point. This next hour is where we're going to get into some deep stuff. You're like, I'm so lost. Like I said in the beginning, you will be lost, but later you won't. You'll be lost, then you'll be found. How do I get blue bottle on the screen so I can follow along? You have to go to the images and get the image. Do you really want to do that? If you do, I'll let's see. Oh, I don't know where. I didn't even pay attention to where this bottle was. I honestly wouldn't try following along with all the moving and clicking that I do, because I think people try to do that and it just confuses them. I really think if you'll watch it tonight and then go back and do it, I think you'll have a better result. I don't normally tell people that, but I think you will. I don't know what that means, change back to screen. You want me to change this color back? Change it back to green? It's probably a good idea for this next section. Maybe that's what you were saying. Karen, if that happens again, remind me, because I'll get going and forget. Just say green screen. If she says green screen, it means I lost my green screen. It's hard for them to see it, and sometimes when I go out of a functionality and come back in, it'll change. It's not really a functionality, it does it, but some of them. Monica, that's next. I know I keep saying that, but yes, I'm going to show you that. Oh, Pamela, I got one in my mouth. I got to teach class in the morning too. Pam, your question is more like, okay, I'm just going to answer it, but it's going to confuse you, but I'm going to answer it. Yes, you would run it 4 times unless, let's say the image you're cutting will fit on a 12 by 12. Okay, we're not to this yet, but I'm going to say it while we're waiting. Let's say the image you're cutting will fit on a 12 by 12 mat, and you can put 6 inches of a color in this corner, 6 inches in this corner, 6 inches in this corner, 6 inches in this corner. You can put all your images on one mat and cut them at one time. If it won't fit on one mat, then you have to do one mat at a time. So that's not going to make sense right now, but it'll make sense in just a little bit. Okay, thanks, Tam. Per melody, no limit. I just want to make sure they didn't put one in that I wasn't aware of before I told y'all that. So somebody asked earlier if there was a limit to how many projects we can save and have, and there is no limit, according to Melody Lane, who was on vacation in Las Vegas and was willing to answer that question for us. I love her. And she answered it for Tamitha, not me. Just so y'all know, she will do that. Susan, that probably speaks to the fact how dehydrated I am. I'm kidding. I'm not dehydrated. I have been drinking more. Oh, my goodness. Susan said that was a quick potty break. Carol, if you will remind me at the end of class, I'll show you how to find them. The problem with me zooming in so you can see the top of my screen is you lose all the other parts of the screen. But have you got it blown up on your, as big as you can get it on your screen? Because if I blow up mine, I lose this side or I lose that side. Is it time? 7:45. All right, I'm going to see. What did the scissors next to the word subscribe mean? I didn't see that. But there's scissors next to the word subscribe. Tamitha, can you answer that? Pam, we'll talk about other classes too at the end. We'll talk about other classes and we'll get there because I don't want to get us off target. Susan got her PJs on. That's good. I wish I had mine on. All right, let's go. So, what have you learned so far? I know I'll get tired of this. You know what templates are. You know what projects are. You know what images are. You know what all 4 of these buttons do. You know what this section does, the arrange, align, and flip. You know what size does. You know what rotate does. You know what position does. You know what group and ungroup does. You know what delete does. Duplicate does. Delete, this option, why they put this button here, I don't know, but if you want to delete from here, you can. You know about the layers panel. You know about the eyes. You know about so much that you didn't realize you know. Now we're going to spend some time down here in the bottom right of the layers panel. What I'm going to do is I am circling it. What I want y'all to do is give me a 1 when you see the bottom right of the layers panel. When you see slice, weld, attach, flatten, and contour. Bottom right of the layers panel. That's where we're going to be working. Give me a 1. Slice, weld, attach, flatten, and contour. That's where we're fixing to go. This is going to open your world, okay? This is where you're going to see a whole lot of stuff. While you're telling me 1, I'm going to go to this image right here, and I'm going to ungroup our bottle. I need to work on separate layers, okay? So not only am I going to ungroup him, I'm going to pull them out away from each other. Okay. Remember, there is another layer, but his eyes turned off, so I don't have to worry about him. Very good. Now, earlier somebody asked me, what if you don't want the cheeks? If you look at this image that I have selected here, the blue bottle, notice all these little lines. Let me blow this up. I can at least do that. Don't know if this will help or not. Let me see how blown up. That's too blown up. That's too blown up. Okay. All right, can y'all see him here? See his little lines? All right, so these little dash lines, okay, they are like reference lines. This is like we used to have with cartridges. You'd get these little lines, so whenever you cut an image, you could then take the other piece and line it up. You knew where it went. And these little pieces are cheeks, so if you wanted to cut those out, you'd know where to put the little cheeks. And these little things for that, they're all like direction lines. Okay, let's say you don't want any of this. This is where contour comes in, okay? So if we go to the bottom right of the layers panel and click contour, notice I want you to see something, okay? If I don't have the image selected, there's no square around him, contour, none of these are an option. Why? Because Cricut doesn't have any idea what I'm trying to do, okay? So I'm going to click on this blue bottle, and I'm going to tell it I want to contour. Now, contour has come leaps and bounds, okay? It is really good nowadays. There was a time I didn't use it because it wasn't so great, but it's really good nowadays, all right? This is the image we're working on. It gives us a little version of it. And if you come over here, you can see all of the pieces that are related to it, okay? See all those pieces as I scroll? To get rid of them, you have two options. Cricut does this to us every time. We can come over here and try our darndest to click on the actual piece we want to get rid of. Sometimes it's hard because they're just little tiny lines like that. If we click on them, it is deleting them, okay? So one thing about this they do weird. Like they don't like, you don't click it and they give you an X so you know you're deleting it. You just have to click it and just know you're deleting it. Another way to know is to look over here in this little layers panel inside here and see they're grayed out. That means they're going to leave, okay? Or they're selected to be gone. So you can click over here. The other thing you can do is you can click them from here. See how I'm just selecting them in the layers panel? Not the layers panel, but the weld panel. I can select them like this, okay? Now I'm going to leave his little smile. I'm obviously going to leave the bottle. Let me see, I got rid of his eyes. Let's leave his eyes. To do that, I'm going to click him again and say I don't want to get rid of his eyes. Now watch what happens. Here's where it gets confusing. I'm going to do this twice because I promise this will confuse you. You do not click hide all contours. You think I just did all that and I want to click here to tell it to do it. No. If you click hide all contours, it's going to hide all contours. This is another option. It's not what tells it to do it. What tells it to do it, which this to me is a functionality they need to fix, is you just click out. That's it, okay? You just click out. And now look, our little lines up here are gone. Our cheeks are gone. All of that is gone now, okay? I'm going to redo that. I want you to see that twice. So I'm going to click undo. So see, they're all back. See? So I'm going to select the bottle, and I'm going to come down here to contour. Now, I see there's a 2 from Debbie. I think that's a question. So go ahead and type your question. I'm going to do this the second time, and then we'll answer your question. All right, again, I can work and click all the little buttons over here, all the little lines over here, or I can come over here and click in my panel. And every one I click is going away. And the way I get rid of them after I get them all clicked is to click off the screen. That's it. See how it's gone? That's hide contours. I could hide all of this, by the way. I could get rid of the eyes, and you can hide any line that's in here. All right. That is contour. Any questions about contour real quick before we move on? I don't know if Debbie had a question or she was just responding to something earlier. I know there's a little delay, so I'm pausing for a second because I want to see if there's questions about it. Contour's pretty easy. All right, I'm going to shrink this little dude back down.
Are you trying to pay at the pump?
Did you guys notice? Do you see that? Do you see how this piece is way over here and I keep moving the screen side to side? Do you see that? Why is that important? Let me tell you. You can sometimes accidentally, like I'm going to slide things up. I'm doing this with my mouse, okay? Sometimes you're like, where'd my project go? I know it's here. Where did it go? If you look right here, there's it's on the top right where my cursor's spinning up here. Get it to spin big. This is like a little axis line. Sometimes you might just move it off the screen and not realize it. I've done that before and it's frustrating. All right, that's contour. Let's look at another one. Let's talk about weld. I love weld. I'm going to move these over here out of the way. Okay, I'm going to use this one for something in a second, but let's talk about weld. Let's use this guy. Let's say I want to make this a card and I want it to open in the middle. Okay, I'm going to duplicate this because I need two of them. So I'm going to click up here and duplicate. And now I got him. And now what I want to do is I want to line them up beside each other and slightly overlap them. Okay, so I'm going to select them both. And I'm going to come up here and align them. See, all this stuff goes quick now because you know. I'm going to align them. We've already looked at that. Now, they look like they're welded, right? But they're not. They are still separate pieces. Let me show you how I know. If I click this guy, look, see him up here? He's all by himself. If I click this guy, he's all by himself. Another way to know, you can change the colors of these guys. So let's say I don't want him black. I want him white. I'll go right up here. See that little black square where it says basic cut? I'm going to change that to white. See how all the colors pop up? I can change in any of these colors I want. I can even advance color him, whatever I want to do. I'm just going to change him to white. And I'm going to change this one to white as well. That's all you have to do to change the color of your images. Okay. Now when I do that, you can see that line lays over. Let me zoom. So here you see how that line is laid over like this? Okay. I want to select both of these pieces. I'll do this twice, so don't panic. I'm going to select both of these pieces, and I'm going to weld it. My option that I want to use is weld. When you weld it, look what happens to that middle line. It goes away, and it becomes one piece. Okay? That's what weld does. Weld turns it into one piece, literally one image. How do we know? Let's look in the layers panel. What happened over here? It's no longer two bottles in here, two white bottles. Now it's one basic image of this. Did that make sense? I'm going to do that one again and show y'all. All right, you see the line? They are separate images. See that? If I pull them apart, they're separate. I'm going to cross them over slightly. I'm going to select them both, and I'm going to click weld. And now that line goes away and they become one piece. If you understand weld, give me a 1. Weld literally turns it into a new image. It is a new piece. If you wanted to take them apart, you'd have to cut them apart or undo. That's all you could do. And if you save this, like once you save this, this image is saved just like this. You cannot undo it. You have welded it together. Okay. Perfect. Let's look at another functionality down here. Let's look at slice. Slice is my favorite feature. My favorite feature. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to turn the eye off on it. We might come back to it in a minute. Actually, no, let's use it. Let's use it. Good. Let's slice. Okay, let me show you my favorite feature. All right. Over here in shapes, if you click on shapes, it's in the far left-hand menu. Okay, it's underneath images and text. You click on shapes. Look at all these shapes we get. I love all these shapes. We used to not have all these. Look at all this, y'all. If you haven't been here in a while, this is so cool. Look at all these shapes. We used to have like 5, I think it was 6 shapes. Now we have all of this, okay? Let's say I want to cut a heart out of this bottle. I can come right over here and click this heart, and it's going to pop up on the screen. Why do we have those shapes? So we don't have to go search for images. We have them. See this little heart? I'm just going to place it here. We could use all of the features to line it up and all that, but I'm just going to place it here, okay? I want to slice this heart into that back bottle. Maybe I'm making a shaker card. You know, maybe I want an aperture there so I can put some glitter or something in. What you do is you place the shape you want to cut on top, click it. Then I want to click this bottle in the background. So what I'm going to do is hold down Shift on my keyboard and click it and get them both. Or, again, multiple functionality, or I'm just going to click and drag everything. Okay, so now I've got them both selected. How do I know? They're all in the square, or I can see them both in the layers panel are gray. Now here's my favorite part. Ready? Bottom right-hand corner under the layers panel, come down under the layers panel. Our first option is slice. I'm going to click it. Watch what happens. Now, this is the heart I placed on. I'm going to click it, and I'm going to move it to the side. That is the piece I put there. This one in the middle here, which I cannot get to, hang on, move to the back. Send to the back. Okay, now I can get to it. This one is what we just cut out. So here's what I like to say. This is my cookie cutter. Okay, this is the piece I brought over. It's the cookie cutter, and this is my dough. When I place this on here and I cut it, I can move my cookie cutter. Now I got to move my dough. See? And there's my hole I sliced out. Isn't that cool? Slice is easy. Let me tell you where slice messes with people, though. Let's say, I'm going to turn this heart gray also so that they look the same. Let's say I want to cut 2 hearts out, and I lay them over here like this, and I lay this one over here like this. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to select all of the, oops, I moved it instead of selecting. I'm going to select all of this, and I want to slice those 2 hearts. Look, come on, Maymay, me and the mouse. At the bottom, under the layers panel where slice is, it's not an option anymore. You see that? It's no longer an option. Why is that? Cricut only allows us to slice 2 images at a time. That's it. This is not going to let me work because if I look in the layers panel, I have 3 images selected. You see that? So I cannot slice this because I can only slice 2. Now watch. Even with them sitting here, if I just select 2 of them, now I can slice. But when I select all of them, it won't let me. Does that make sense? Okay. The confusion about the dough, let me go back. Okay. The reason when you did the slice and you're trying to click that little white heart and you notice it's picking the outside, it's because this image is on top. And you remember how I told you how you can come up here and you can arrange it? You have to send that image to the back to be able to get to that heart. You just can't grab it. Or you can do it this way. You can come to your layers panel and click it and just hit delete and it's gone. That's all that was. Okay, any questions about slice? About slice? Because we're fixing it. We gotta do the confusing one. Because y'all gotta know this stuff. Okay. I'm gonna flip this guy. Because we're gonna pretend I'm working on a card. Flip him. I'm gonna pretend like this is the front side of the card. And we're gonna pretend like we're gonna make a card. I'm gonna get rid of this cookie cutter. We don't need it. All right, no questions? I see, got it. Okay, you can give me a 1 if you want not have to type. All right, let's go to text. This is what y'all want to talk about anyway. Everybody wants to talk about text, so I want to get there. Okay. I'm going to click on text. Text is in the far left menu. 1, 2, 3, 4th one down. Okay. So I'm going to click on text. When I do, notice what happens. I get this box right here. You see that? This is where you type. That box pops up and you just start typing. So let's say, welcome, baby. Oops. I'm going to do the word welcome. Then I'm going to hit return and type baby. Oops. There. Joyce, there's a way you can do it, but it's really confusing. It's best just to cut them separate, or I can go back and show you. But you cannot cut 3 images. You can only cut 2 images. I'm going to make a note to show that later. Show weld multiples. Let me say it like this and it might make sense to you. If you turn those 2 hearts into 1 image, if you weld them together, they become 1 image, even if they're not touching. Hang on, let me show you, because I want to show you. I'm going to take this heart that we were using, okay? I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to put it underneath it. Now watch this. Everybody watch. Everybody watch. If I select both of these guys and I weld them together, look what's going to happen. They become 1 image, even though they're not touching. See this? This is my secret trick. Nobody really knows this. I'm kidding. But it is a thing I do. It is secret, okay?
Your little secret.
They are 1 piece. Look in my layers panel. Now I can lay them over here and cut them all at one time. This is a Maymay trick. You learned it here, folks. I do it all the time. All the time. As long as it's 2, if it's just 2 images, I can do whatever I want. So that's a secret trick. You'll have to go back and watch that one again if you didn't catch it. I'm undoing. Okay. So here's my text. I typed in welcome baby. Depending on what you want to do with text matters, okay? You can print text, you can cut text, you can write text. Right now, I want to show you this. Now, everybody needs to be listening and you need to get your notebook out, okay? This is where it gets interesting. Right now, you might be thinking, well, what are you telling it to do? Let's go look. My text is selected. I'm going to go up to the top menu where it says operation. Now we're going to learn what this little box means, okay? Operation is what Cricut is saying you want to do to what is selected. So right now I've got Welcome Baby selected. It wants to basic cut it. If I select the bottle and look at operation, it wants to basic cut it, okay? I don't want Welcome Baby to cut. I want to write Welcome Baby, okay? So what I'm going to do is go to the operation section and do the drop down. See my options? Now let me show you something. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can show you. Okay, all of these options are available to me right now. But if I have the Joy selected, if up here I'm telling Cricut I'm using my Joy machine, all of these are not going to show because the Joy can't do all of these. There, I said it. That's perfect. I normally can't explain that very well, but I think that explained it well. Depending on if you do this drop down and don't see everything I've got, see what machine you have selected because that's probably what it is. Now, I want this to write, so I'm going to pick pen, okay? That changes it and it makes it now pen lines. But I don't want it to be open pen lines. I want it to be a font that writes, okay? So with this selected, so I'm telling Cricut what I'm working on, I'm going to come back up here. Under operation, you're going to see font. You see font? We're going to do the drop down for font. Now, we could spend forever here, but we're not going to, okay? Cricut has done this thing called kerning. This is a new feature we have. Kerning is awesome. Kerning puts all your letters together when you're writing for you. You don't have to do it. We used to have to do it, okay? Notice that up here, only kerned fonts is checked. See that? That's what I want. In the top right of this drop down, it says only kerned fonts. That's what I want. Then I'm going to come over here and I want to show you inside of fonts, you need to read these fonts, okay? It's much like the images that we were looking at, how they all had like options. The fonts do too. See the A? That A means it's in access. See this single layer cutting and writing? That means this can be a cutting font or a writing font, okay? But if I come down here, this one is only a cutting font. If I come down here, you're probably only going to see cutting or writing, but you'll never probably see one that's just writing. I say that, but Cricut does stuff. I never know. There could be. But here's what I want to do. Because fonts take me for days, I don't want to go through all of this. What I want to do is I want to search fonts, okay? I'm going to come up here to the top where I have all these options. Let's talk about this search option. This one says all, okay? All means it is showing me every font on my computer and every font that Cricut is offering me. So hear what I said. Every font on my computer and every font Cricut is offering me. If you want to use your own font, you load it to your computer and Cricut will use it. Okay? You don't load it to Cricut. People get confused. They think they have to upload a font to Cricut. You don't. You upload a font to your computer and then you can access it. Okay?
Hey, we have a person that got booted out, and she's also saying she is hearing double.
That means your other window's still open. You need to go close out that other window. Okay, next to it, it says System. I'm going to click on System and my fonts are going to change. The reason is now the only fonts showing are the ones on my computer system. If I have put them in my computer, they're showing right here. The Cricut fonts are no longer showing. Now I'm going to click on Cricut. Now only Cricut fonts are showing. This is only available through Cricut, okay? So I'm going to look for one that I want to write with. Let's do this one just because it's right here and close. And look, it is a single layer cutting and writing. I'm going to click this font. When I do, watch what happens right here. Takes it a second. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that cool? I love that. Okay, now let me show you something. See how it's still kind of thick? It's still, not one single line. That's exactly what it'll come out looking like if you don't make some edits, okay? I want to show you how we make those edits. With it still selected, let's go back to the font square, okay? See where it says Alyssa Stencil Script? That's what we chose. But look at Style. Style says regular. I need to do this drop down. I don't want it to be regular. I want it to be writing. So I'm going to change it and watch what happens. Love it. This is because Cricut does kerning for us. If you've been here before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Before, all these letters would be separate from each other and we'd have to put them together. Cricut's done that for us now, and it's amazing. Okay, before I move on, give me some ones if you understand where to find a font, where to change it from regular to writing, and how to change to writing versus cutting. Like, you get this section, or if you have questions, now's the time to ask those. I know, I can't do anything about that, Pat. I am trying to tell you where I'm going, though. I'm doing my best to tell you I'm going left, I'm going right, I'm going to the top. So listen for that. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Good. You guys are good. Real good.
You must be doing something right.
Well, the thing is, later they'll be like, oh, I learned a lot. Tonight you won't think that. During this, you won't think it. Okay. So now that we know that information, now I want to show you something. First off, these guys are not, they're not centered. I want to center them. So I've got them selected. I know that because I got 4 buttons. Okay. If I go to the top menu, we see font, we see style. If we come out beside it, we see font size, letter space, line space, alignment, and advanced. Okay. I'm going to go to alignment right now, but we're going to talk about the other ones too. So I'm going to click on alignment, and I'm going to choose center. Look, this is where you can put everything to the left, you can put everything to the right, or center. I want center. That's pretty easy, right? Alignment. Everybody kind of knows how that works with fonts. But notice that they're not close to each other. I don't want them that far apart, like welcome's way above baby. See all this space we've got between them? I don't want all of that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come up here to line spacing. We're in that same font menu at the top of the page, directly above our words, line spacing. Okay? And these little arrows right here, right beside it, right here, you can do up and down. I'm going to do down. And what down does is see how it's watch the words. See how it's bringing them closer together? That gets rid of that air, because we don't need all that air. Some fonts you'll have to do this more with, some you don't have to do this with, and some you do. So now I've got them centered, I've got them closer together just by using those functions. Now let me show you another function, and then I'll ask for questions here, okay? Well, let me show you letter space. Let's say I want my letters to spread out. I don't want them touching. I don't know why you would, but let's say you did. You do that with letter spacing. I'm going to arrow it up, and watch what happens. My letters separate. I don't want that, but that's how you can do it if you want to. I'll bring those back together. Okay, now I'm going to select them again. Oh, let me show you that. You're working on your text and you're like, oh, I want to go change something. And you go back to the top and your menu's gone. That's because nothing's selected. When we select our words, it comes back. So don't panic. That's kind of new and I don't really love it because sometimes I'm like, where'd it go? You got to select it for it to come back. Okay. Now let's look at advanced. You might not think there's a reason for this, but sometimes there is. You can ungroup your letters here and ungroup the lines. So if you want to do any like detail work in here, like let's ungroup the letters. Now this means that all my letters I can click on individually. There will come a time when you want to do this. Back in the day, we used to have to do this. You don't have to anymore. But if you ever wanted to do that, you could. Okay? And if you wanted to ungroup your lines, that ungroups baby from welcome. All right, I want to undo that because I don't want that. I don't know how much of that I'm going to have to do. Only one time. Okay. All right. What questions about these functions in the font menu do you have?
Okay, so we got to ask about what is kern font.
Let me say real quick, a kern font means a font when it's a writing font that's already attached for you, and you don't have to bring the letters together manually.
And then all my system fonts are cutting only. Is there a way to convert a system font to writing? She said she doesn't have to learn it tonight, but she would like to know.
Email Shannon on that one, so I have time to do it.
Jane asked, how do you get the words on 2 lines.
Just hit return. Just like you're typing, you just welcome, return, baby, or enter. It's return, isn't it? Yeah.
Turn that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Did
You
y'all?
have 1, 2 from Peggy.
Okay, Peggy, tell me what your question is. Did y'all see what I just did? I moved this over here and I resized this. Do you see this? I'm doing it with those buttons. These buttons work the same for fonts as images, okay? You can resize from here or you can resize up here where it says font size. I never use this up here. I always just do it here because I want it to live right down here on my card. So what I'm going to do is bring this over. Now watch what's going to happen. Oh, it worked. Sometimes it might go behind, but don't worry. If it does, just go use your alignment button. All right, so now I'm going to put it here and I'm going to stretch this out because I want to fill this spot. Welcome, baby. I just think that'll be cute right there. And that's where I want it.
How do you enlarge font?
I think I just showed that.
Or how do you size the font?
Yeah, I just did that one.
Okay.
Okay, I'm getting to that, Tam. All right. So now, let me show you something. You're so happy with what you've done. You've got your bottle made. You've put your words where you want them, and you're like, I'm going to go make this thing. Let's go do it. First off, y'all, I'm going to change my machine, but let me tell you why. The Cricut Maker gives me more options than the regular Cricut does. I mean, the Maker 3 gives me more options, and it gets confusing, so I'm just going to change this to my Maker, okay? Let's go make it. Now, what do you do when you want to make something? You have it ready to go. You go to the top right, and you click Make It. See in the top right of your screen, Make It? And click it. I want you to see what happens. Oh, no. This is not what I wanted. I don't want Welcome Baby on a mat by itself and the bottle on a mat by itself, right? I want Welcome Baby on my bottle. See how it moved? If you've never seen this before, this is where your mats are laid out for you. Remember how somebody asked me if we would do multiple mats for multiple colors? That's it. But we don't want this, so let's cancel this. What we want Cricut to do is to write Welcome Baby right here. We want it to stay there. Yeah? Okay. It is not, okay. I'm going to tell you how to make it stay there, and then I will correct the misconception. Let me tell you the right way, and then I'll correct the misconception. The right way is to do this. You want to attach these words where you want them to write. Okay? You want to attach them. Grouping them only groups on the screen. Okay? Grouping goes away when you go to the mat. Attaching stays when you go to the mat. So let me show you what I mean. You'll select your text and you're going to select your bottle. Okay? Bottom right hand of the layers panel. Come over to the right hand side of the screen. Go to the very bottom. Do you see this little paper clip? That's exactly what's going to happen here. We are going to paper clip Welcome Baby right there. Okay? So I'm going to click attach. Now, I want you to see what happens. Now if I say make it, watch this. It is where I want it. Okay? Now, when I go to make this, Cricut's also going to say to me, put your marker in, and it's going to know exactly where to write. All I got to do is follow the instructions. Watch. This may be an issue because I don't have a machine hooked up. Oh, do I? All right, I'm going to have to use the Maker 3. That's okay. It just means I have to go through some things I don't have to in the other machine. All right, with the Maker 3, you have to tell it, are you working without a mat or on a mat? I'm going to say on a mat and say done. Okay. When I go to make this, let me show you, continue. It's going to say to me, first it's connected to my machine. Is it going to? Is my machine turned on? It's not on. Oh, no. Okay, the machine's not on, but I'm going to tell you what it'll do. Right here, it will say to me, load this into the machine. It'll tell me, load the white. It'll tell me, load the marker. Like it tells me what to do. Okay, I can't show you that right now. But it will tell you what to do. But I'm telling it this is where let's go back to, let's forget what I just did and let's go back to text. I'm telling it I want that text to stay right there. I'm going to click cancel. Here's what I want to show you. I want to, remember how I told you that I would show you what people think happens? I'm going to undo attaching. Okay. people think people think that you grab them both and group them. But when you do that, all that does is do it on the mat. It does not tell it to stay there. Okay? If I say make it now, you'll see they're on separate mats. So you have to attach, or they're separate. Do you see that? So you have to attach. Okay, questions about attach?
Oh, they say don't forget to save. I don't know what that
We'll get to save in a sec. I do need to tell you about save.
How can I correct my text?
To correct text, okay, let's say that I want to correct this. I have to unattach it. Good question. I have to unattach it. Why do I have to do that? Because once I attach it, it's attached until I tell it to unattach, right? Or no, I grouped this. Hold on, let me ungroup it. I'd already unattached it. Yeah, you have to unattach it because look, if I attach it and I go to change it, it's not going to let me. So I'm going to detach it, and now I'm going to click it. Actually, I'm going to double click it. When you double click it, your box comes up again. See this? So maybe I want it to say, welcome baby boy. See, I can change it like that. So let me, I'm going to delete boy, and I'm going to do that again for you. So I double click my font, or double click my words, my box comes back up, and I can say whatever I want to do. Good question.
Did you answer Tamitha's questions about how do you print and cut a writing font?
Okay, here's how you do it. Tamitha wants to print and cut, not write and cut, okay? Write and cut is when you put a marker or a pen into the machine, and the machine takes that marker around the page and writes the image. Print then cut is where you print it out on the printer, then you take that page off the printer, put it onto your Cricut mat, feed it into your Cricut. Cricut uses a registration mark to find it and cuts it out, okay? To do that, you can do it with flatten. So I'm going to select both pieces. If you look in the bottom right hand of the layers panel, you'll see the option flatten. Do you see that? I'm going to click it. When I do, it flattens my text onto my image. All right. Did I do that right? Hold on just a second. Because I don't like the way that looks. Yeah. Y'all are like, you're having to check yourself? Yeah, I'm checking myself. Okay. See this? This is where it gets weird. So this is your print page. When you send this to your printer, by the way, let me tell you that. A lot of people think that the machine should print. It doesn't print. You print to your home printer or your office printer. Then you take that page off your printer and bring it to your mat. And this is literally what you'll see. You'll see this big black line. You'll be like, why do I see that big black line? The Cricut has lights inside of it. And the lights will read those black lines as registration marks. And it knows where to cut the bottle. Okay, so you can't see the bottle here because it's white and it's cutting out of white paper. But the Cricut knows I'm going to cut this shape out here. And the way you do it is to that's how you do fonts, is flatten it. Let me see if it'll show better if I let me try this. I want to see if it'll show better. They can't hear you. Joe brought us dinner, y'all, so Vince, like, they can't see you. Okay. I did it in red so you could see. So see, Cricut knows to cut around this. You see that? So it knows to write well. It knows, this is what will print out of your printer. Exactly this image is going to print out. And then the Cricut knows to cut around that red. Isn't that cool? Wait till you do it for the first time. You're going to love that. All right, we need to get a little bit of speed under, so let me undo that. All right, any questions about, let me tell you what you know now, okay? You know all of these functions under font. You know every one of these. And if you come down to the bottom under the layers panel, you know all of those underneath the layers panel. You know how to slice, you know how to weld, you know how to attach, you know how to flatten, you know how to contour. You know to why, and you know when. Isn't that cool? How do you move the text box on your screen? Click the text, move it where you want it, and then double click it, and it's going to pop up wherever your text is. And I know why you're asking that, because look, if you type up here and then you want to go edit, it goes behind. And isn't that frustrating? So typically, if I'm doing text, I bring it down here somewhere and then do this drop down so I can see it. No, I thought that was a good question. I know exactly why it's an issue. Okay.
I was listening to Joe and not listening to you, so I'm sorry.
Ask
So
the
I'm gonna
questions,
ask
because I haven't answered
to you.
any of them.
This person says that their project says that it's incompatible.
That means that the machine you have chosen at the top is probably the Joy. Look and see if that's it. You have to select your machine. And if you're building something bigger than the Joy can hold, it's going to tell you that it's incompatible with your machine. Or if you're trying to do something the Joy won't do.
Okay, this one says, when I do that and attach the image, it turns black.
Probably you need to refresh. Probably you've been doing a lot of, it's probably something like that. If you're welding, that will happen. When you weld, everything changes to a different color. It all changes to one color because it becomes one image.
That may have been what she
So
was
if you're
saying.
welding, it will turn to one color.
Okay, and then how do I move? Wait a minute, I skipped one. How do you print everything on one mat?
How do you print everything on one mat? What does that mean?
Now, I can't answer that. Either the question or your question.
Can you clarify that one for me? Because I don't want to spend time
Okay,
answering
wait a
something that's
minute.
not right.
She said, I don't mean print, I mean cut.
How do you cut everything on one mat?
Sorry, I didn't see that answer at the bottom.
Let me make sure that it's not going to
Yeah.
change our flow for a second, because I may save that for the end. Let me make sure.
Here's another question about something turning black when they attach.
If you're welding, it will do that. Let me do this real quick. Somebody said about save. So let's say you're working on a project and you don't want to lose it. You need to save it. So I don't want to lose this project. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the top right of the screen. You'll see My Projects and then the word Save. Click Save. Now this is really cool what Cricut's done for us. I love this feature. I'm going to call this Baby Bottle. Okay, so I've titled it here. Now Cricut lets us have collections. Isn't this neat? So say I don't think I have a baby collection. I don't. Let's make one. So I can come right over here where it says New Collection and click this plus sign. And I'm going to make a baby collection. This is basically making a baby folder of my projects. So you can see that baby is selected. Now I might want to save this in some other collections too. These are my other collections I already have. I might want to save this as a Joy project because this might cut out on the Joy. No, it won't work on the Joy. I just realized because we have writing on it. I'm going to take them off of that. Let's see. I'll save it as a kid project. And I might want to save this as a shared project. I'll click on that, okay? Now I've put it in some categories and I can click Save. Now it is saved. Now Cricut has a new feature on the app. I don't think this is on the computer. I think it's on the iPad, where it will save images in the background. So if you get booted off, when you open it back up, they should be there. That's really cool. Okay.
Okay, we had someone clarify what Flo was asking.
Okay.
She said, I think Flo is asking about putting scraps of paper on one mat and having the sections all cut.
Yes.
On one mat.
She is. I'm going to answer that in a minute.
Old school.
Yeah. I'm going to do that. One mat. I'm going to write it down. One mat. Okay. So I do want to show you something else here. Okay. I'm going to attach this back because I do want that to stay there. Now what I want to do is I want to come to shapes. If you're a card maker and you want to hold on one second. Yeah. Okay, if you're a card, let me do this again. If you're a card maker and you want to, or anybody, if you want to put a score line in, okay, if you go to shapes, this first image right here is a line. If you choose that line, look over here at the top where it's operation. Do you see how it's got that red line right there? That means it's not a draw or a print or anything. That means it's nothing. But look, it says score. So I've got a score line. Now I can change it if I want to draw a line, or if I want to cut a line, I can change it to basic cut. If I want to draw it, I can change it to pen, but I want it to be a score line. So I'm going to change that back to score, okay? And I'm going to place it right here in the middle of this card. and resize it to fit. Now, if I want this to work, if I want this to stay there, what do I have to do? If I want this to stay there and be scored when I go make it using my scoring tool, what do I have to do to make that stay there? It's not group, because what does group do? Group only groups things on the screen, not on the mat, okay? What I want to do is I want to select it and select the bottle and attach it. Now, when I go to make this will all be one piece. You'll see here. It's all one piece. My wording will write, my image will cut, and this will score. And how do I know to do it? If you're new to Cricut, you've never used your machine, the machine will tell you, load your marker, load the scoring tool, load the cutting blade. It will tell you what to do. You don't even have to stress about it. So now we've saved, we've attached, we've added a score line. Somebody asked me about print and cut. Let me show you this, okay? If you want to print, like or somebody asked me about flatten. Let me show you about flatten real quick, okay? I can go back to the images and I can pick out like baby boy. And I'm going to pick whatever pops up, y'all. Oh, this is cute. Okay. I'm just choosing this little image I want to show you. I just picked an image. And now what I'm going to do is I want to print it right here. I want this image to print. I don't want to cut it. I don't have all that paper or the time to layer it. I'm not looking to do all that. I just want to print it on this card, okay? To do that, I will select everything here and flatten it. Oh, it won't let me. I will attach it. Will it let me do that? Nope. Nope, nope, nope. I have run into this before. Let me tell you why it's doing it. It's a little frustrating, but here's why. Because all this stuff is already attached. So what I need to do is go detach things. It's kind of a pain. You need to do this part before you get here. Let me see if I've got enough done. Select. Yeah, okay. So this is not attached right now, and my line is not attached right now. For some reason it does that. What I'm going to do is grab this little guy and the bottle and flatten it. And then I'm going to go arrange it to the back. And now I can attach these guys. Can I attach them at one time? Let me select them both. Yep. I selected them both and I'm going to attach them. I don't know why Cricut makes you do that. Hold on, I just attached them to each other, not to the thing. Okay. I don't know why Cricut makes you flatten before you attach, but I think it has something to do with layers. I think it's because, I don't know, but you have to flatten images first. So what happens when I do this? If I say make it, when I come over here, and I look at it, now what's going to happen is it's going to print this little guy, print this, print this. Oh, that I don't want it to print. That's why. I don't want the score line to print. But it's going to print this stuff for me. But I wouldn't print the score line, obviously. But I wanted to show you that. That's another way you use flatten. If you want to print something, you flatten it onto something. Or another reason you use flatten. Let me show you this real quick. This is all stuff you can come back and look at, okay? Another reason you might want to use flatten. I'm trying to get everything undone. Here we go. This little guy, let's say you just want to print him. All right, before I go to this next step, I want to know if there's any questions. I'm going to get rid of this card. We don't need it because I want to show you some other stuff. Any questions before I move on? I want to show you some cool stuff. I'm just cleaning off the mat so we don't have a bunch of junk, okay? Because I'm just going to work with this little guy.
Okay, we got two contradictions.
Okay.
Did you say the joy won't write?
The joy will write.
Okay.
I might have said it. I might have said it. The joy will write. It won't print.
Did you answer why do you flatten?
That's what I'm doing. All right, let me show you this. This little guy, we've selected him. We look in the layers panel. Look at all of these pieces that he is. If I wanted to print and cut him, right now he'd print all of these pieces and cut all of these pieces. I don't want to do that. I want to flatten him and print him as one image. So if I come over here and click flatten, look at the layers panel. Now he's one image and he says print then cut. Isn't that cool? So I don't have to use a whole bunch of pieces of paper. I can use one piece and just print him out and get all the colors and everything I want.
So in simple terms, flatten is only for printing.
Flatten is used for printing, and it takes all those multiple layers of an image and turns it into one image. It flattens them down into one image. So if you don't want all those layers, you just have the one. Now I got to show y'all the coolest new feature. I got to show you this before we're done, okay? Are we 2 hours in now?
Yes.
Okay, let me show you this. Offset, the greatest thing since Shirt Pockets. I've got this image selected. If we come up here to the top panel and you see where this says offset, I'm going to do this drop down. This is what we wanted for years from Cricut, and now we have it. What offset does, do you see this line? When I did the drop down, let me do it again because I want y'all to see it. I'm going to select my little guy. I'm going to blow him up. I'm going to select my little guy, okay? I'm going to come up here to the top middle and choose offset. When I get here, when I click on it and it opens, there's a line that comes around my little dude, okay? That is the offset. I can edit that line with this slider bar. I can make it bigger or smaller. See how I'm making it smaller? I can make it bigger. I can do whatever I want with this line, okay? I'm going to bring him down about like this, okay? Now, I can also change him from rounded edges to sharp edges. Now, where would this matter? If I was wanting to offset maybe a square and I wanted the square to keep square edges and not be rounded, then I would choose square. See here, where that point is, it went square. Where this point is, it went square. Where his wing is, it went square. Let's go back round because I like round better. The round is softer. See it? I'm going to apply this, okay? You have to apply it. If you don't, it will go away. Now, do you see that it turned it gray? And look over here. It gave me another layer. See that? What does that mean? This little guy can move, and this little guy can move. It gave me an offset layer. So I would print and cut this guy, and then lay them on top of each other. Now, that's if I was layering. Let's say I wanted to make this a sticker, okay? And I wanted him to be on white sticker paper, and I wanted that to be white around him. I would choose this layer. I would come up here and change it to white, okay? So I'll have a white layer behind him. See that? And now what are we going to do? We're going to select both pieces. Oops, oops, oops. Put it back. We're going to select both pieces and flatten. So now when I print him, I will print him on sticker paper, and I will put sticker paper on my mat and cut him out, and he makes a sticker. That a lot of people want to know how to make stickers nowadays. I'm going to do that all again, and then I'll take questions. So if you have questions, watch it again. We're going to do it all again, okay? So we flattened our little duck guy out, and he is a print and cut image, but I want to do him on sticker paper, and I want him to have a bleed around him, basically, an offset. So with him selected, I come to the top and click offset, set the size that I want my offset to be. That looks good to me, okay? I'm going to click apply. Now, the offset typically comes in gray. A lot of stuff Cricut does is gray. Bothers me. I want it to be white. So what I'm going to do is go up here to the top and click the little gray button in the top left and tell it white. Now, if I don't flatten them, there's still two pieces. Remember, how do I know? Look in your layers panel. There's still two pieces. See that? We want to select them both and flatten them. Now it is one print then cut piece. See it? It makes sense whenever you when you know what all these other features do.
So will the Joy do that?
The Joy will offset, but it will not print. Will not print and cut. He's gonna be too big for the Joy. Let me unflatten him. Okay, let me show you this. I love this. This is a new thing. So let's say you go to make this and Cricut fusses at you and says this won't work. Look at this. Look in your layers panel. Your layers panel is your best friend. Do you see this little caution button? If you click that caution button, it'll tell you why it won't work. Because Joy does not support print then cut. Isn't that cool? Check this one out. Why won't this one work? Because the Joy won't support print then cut. Isn't that neat? I love that. Let's say they're not print then cut. Let's change them from that. Let's just change them to basic cut. I'll have to unflatten him. All this will make sense to you, okay? So now he's a basic cut. But watch this. He's still saying he won't work. Or no, he's still saying print and cut. Let me change him to basic cut. Okay. Now he would work in my joy because my little caution thing went away. But let me show you this. Let's say that I make him big. I don't know how big I'll have to make him, y'all. There we go. All right, I've made him big. This guy is 6.9 by 7.9, okay? Look, I got my caution back. Why is my caution back? Because Joy won't do it. Look, image is too large. You got to reduce it down to what the Joy can handle. I love that new feature because I can't tell you how many times I've been like, why won't this work? and I don't know, but with the little caution, I'm like, oh, that's why it won't work. How great is that feature? Kudos, right?
Bobby wants to know if you can show how to fill the sticker paper with multiple stickers.
On print, well, you would just tell it, okay, so let's say, let me make him a sticker again. Put him back up here, bring him like this. Oh, I can't do that. Let me do this. Let me do this. Oh, I'm in the Joy, hold on, maker. Oh, gosh. Okay, let's flatten him. Let's change this white. Let's flatten all this so he's a sticker. Okay, I'm going to shrink him down. All right, here's what I do. I want to make him a sticker. I'm going to go make it. When I get over here, I'm going to tell it how many I want to make. At the top, it says project copies. I want to make like, let's see if 10 will fit. If it fits in here, it will print. Okay, so 10 fit. Let's keep going. 11. 12. We know 12 will fit. Let's see what happens when I go 13. Okay, 13 makes me have a separate one. You see that? So I can get, in the size I have this guy designed, I can get 3, 6, 9, 12 on this page. It will print and cut 12 of them. That's funny, 12 of them. Okay, that 13th one, I have to start a new page. So all you do when you want to print multiples is just come up here and tell it to apply how many. And I love this feature because I can see what's going to fit. And that's maxed out. Now, will it get bigger? Probably. Probably. That's why we have updates. That's what we look forward to. Okay, let me look at features really quick. All right, there's something else I need to show y'all really fast. I'm going to get rid of this guy because it's one thing we haven't talked about. This one, upload. I'm going to click it. Let's say you want to upload your own image, like an SVG, okay? If you click on upload, let's look at this. You have options. You can upload an image, and if you'll look at this, I love how Cricut does this. It says, here's what's compatible, guys. A JPEG, a GIF, a PNG, a BMP, an SVG, or a DXF. These are compatible. If the image you're trying to upload does not end in dot this, dot that, dot this, it won't work, okay? That takes all of that question out. Now, these are images. If you look over here, these are pattern fills. In my opinion, pattern fill is a 102 class. It's a lot more detailed, and we can get to that later if that's something y'all want to learn. But you can also just go on YouTube and look up how to use pattern fill. But it's not something I use a lot of, and unless you're printing and cutting a lot, you're probably not going to use it either, and we'll teach that in another class. So let's upload an image. I'm going to upload one. So I clicked upload. Now it says drag and drop file here or browse. I always browse. Okay. So you click the browse button and it's going to open the image. It's going to open what's on your computer. Oh, my computer's being slow. I'm not surprised. It's been through it today, y'all. And I'm going to find an SVG. Here's one. Blessed Beyond Belief. I'll click that SVG. All you got to do is know where you saved your SVG. You know, did you save it to your downloads? Whatever. That's all you got to know. So here's my SVG. It's loaded in. Okay. So now I'm going to go over here. It's already named for me. Sometimes it is, depending on where you get your SVG from. You can tag it if you want to put some tags in it. But down here, I'm going to click upload. Okay. When I upload it, look where it comes. It becomes this image down here. All right. I get 3 dots. What can I do with that? Look at this. It even gives it a hashtag for me. How cool is that? So if I keep that hashtag, I know exactly what my image is. All right. So if I want to work on this image, I need to select it. So I've uploaded it because it's here. I'm going to select it. Okay. And then I'm going to come over here and go add to canvas. It's just like an image. All right. So now I've got it. Check it out. That's my SVG. That's how you upload an SVG. It's easy, right? All these functionalities I just taught you can now be done with this SVG. Look, you understand what all this means. You're like, oh, I get it. They're grouped together. Da, da, da. You can do it. I want to show you something else with upload. Okay, let's go back to upload. Let's upload an image that has a background. So I'm going to click upload and click browse. I got to see if my logo's in here. I don't know if I saved it or not. This one will work. Okay, I've got this image that's black and white. Y'all have probably seen me do a video on this. Okay, I'm going to load this in as a simple image. Why am I choosing simple? Let's read it. High contrast colors and transparent or monochrome background. And that's what I've got. Look at this one. Simple details and color with good contrast between subject and background. Fine detail, blended colors, or low contrast. I think mine's simple. So I'm going to click simple. And then I'm going to tell it to continue. After it finishes this. See the, okay. Tell it to continue. Now, I did this literal project in a video not too long ago. Cricut now has this automatic option for removing this black background. Because, let me show you something. If I loaded this up and wanted to cut this image out, right now it's going to cut the square on the outside. Let me show you. You can preview the cut right here. It's only going to show me a big square because it's got a background. Okay, I'm going to hide that. I want to cut the house. So here's how you can do it. A couple ways. Cricut now has this quick and easy way to remove backgrounds. You can click remove background and watch what happens. It removed almost everything. There's a little bit of noise right here. That's because there was some light in my picture. But it removed almost everything. Now, how do I know it removed it? Here's how you know. This checkerboard. This is not just in Cricut. This is in all graphic design graphic software. This checkerboard means it's clear. There's nothing there. Okay, a PNG file is clear. You're going to see that. All right. So we've just cleared that background, and this is our image. Let's preview this cut. Now it looks like this. Now I still got that noise I don't want, right? And what I can do here is I can come over here and click this little manual select tool. And when you do that, you can now come over here and click, put the little cursor, the little crosshairs over what you want to delete and click it. Oh, I didn't get it. Hold on. Hold on. Can I undo? Yeah, undo's right here. Oh, I have to do it. My bad. Okay. I can come here now and do it. So see the little black spot? I can click it and it will start to delete. But there is a lot of little pieces in there. See how it's kind of breaking it up but not really deleting it? It's because it's a lot of little pieces. So what I'm going to do is get the eraser and let's see. See the size of my eraser? I can edit it right here. So see, I can make it really big. And now I can click and drag and erase that noise out. See that? So there's lots of functionality you can do with this. You can clean up your images. If you have a really clean image, like my logo just cleans, the automatic one will just clean it up in a second because it's just black and white. But this one is a photo I took, so I have to do a little bit of work on it. And even here, just taking that eraser and just clicking and dragging, I can get up there and erase it, okay? And once you do that, your image is all cleaned up and ready to go. So I'm going to say apply and continue. So now when I put this into my mat, here's where you'd save it, name it, all that good stuff. I'm going to choose it as a cut image and tell it to upload. Now I can select it and bring it onto my mat and it will cut out the lines because I cleaned up that background. Woo, it's mahoosive. Oh my goodness, that image was huge. I didn't realize it. Okay, so I'm just changing the size at the top. There we go. So see, now I just cleaned up a picture and got me a cut piece. So there you go. All right. We have touched on every function here, every function at the top, every function in the layers panel, every function at the bottom, every function over here. Like there is, you will now be able to play with this and do just about anything you want to do. But what I do want to do is cover some questions that I had. I had 3 that I wrote down here. That one I did. I showed you how to weld multis. We looked up limits. We checked with Melody. There are no limits. And how to put things on one mat. Let me show you. That was the thing I promised. All right, I'm going to go get some images. I'm just going to get something simple. All right, let's get this little guy. He's easy. So I'm going to click that little bunny and say add to canvas. This is easy. It won't take a second. All right, I'm going to duplicate him a couple times. 4 times. All right, so we got 4 little bunnies. Now, I want to change their color because if I don't, right now Cricut's like, we're going to put these on one mat because they're all the same color. If you're doing something in the same color, if they'll fit on one mat, they're going to go on one mat, okay? Actually, let me shrink them just a little bit so they will stay on one mat. All right, so if I want them to be on different mats, I'm just going to change them from one color to another color and another color. Okay, so now let's say make it. Now watch what happens. Cricut's going to put this on 4 different mats because they're 4 different colors. See what it did? But there's this new feature we can do where we can click on one and see the 3 dots beside them. First off, there's a lot we can do. We can move it around the mat like this, okay? And we can click this. When we click the 3 dots, see where it says move object and hide selected? I want to move this object. And I want to move it from this pink mat to this black mat. So I can do this and say confirm, and now he will be on the same mat. All right? I can do the same thing here. I want to move this guy to the same mat. Notice that it's turning him to the same color. We don't really care about that. I'll tell you why in a second. And I'm going to move him to the black mat. All right, so I've got him here. Now here's why I don't care. Because they're going to cut in whatever color I put on the mat. So I'm going to move this guy to this corner, and this guy to this corner, and this guy to this corner. And when I go to cut, I'm going to put what color I want for him here, and what color I want for him here, and what I want here, and what I want here. And now I can run one mat through and cut 4 out at one time in different colors. There's another way to do that, but I'm going to show you that way today, because that's kind of the new way. Oh, here's the other way to do it. Look, see this button that says color sync? I might as well show you. We're here, right? Top right corner, it says color sync underneath make it. You can drag all of these guys up. Just click the color and drag them together, and it makes them all one color, and then you can go put them all on one mat. It'll put them on one mat for you. See? All right, that question was finding my cartridges. If you have cartridges, if you go to images, okay, and you go to you should be able to find them from here. If you go to images and go to ownership and click purchased, only the things are going to come up that you own or have uploaded yourself. But I think you can also go by my projects and do this drop down and choose. You could choose my cartridges. Have they done away with that, y'all? I haven't done cartridges in so long. I don't even see that on there anymore. See if somebody tells me. The only thing you can do on the Joy for stickers is you can draw it and cut it out on sticker paper, but you can't print and cut on the Joy. Is that the only way she can find cartridges nowadays, is by purchased and scrolling through or searching? Wait. It made me do it a while ago with cartridges. You remember that? I don't remember. Email me that. Okay, let me tell you how this class ends. Here's how it ends. I'll leave you with an email address. That email address is shannon@maymaymadeit.com. You have access to me. Any questions you have at the end of this class, you can email them to Shannon, and she and I answer them no matter what it takes. We will get your questions answered. Okay? Even if that doesn't help you find cartridges, you can ask me and I'll keep looking. All right, guys. It's been a long one. I don't hang around at the end of class, and the reason I don't is because when you watch this back, you don't want a bunch of stuff at the end. So we love you guys so much. Thank you for being patient with my voice and my technology tonight. I hope you learned a
And
bunch.
your helper.
And my helper, and and thanks Tamitha for all you do to help us. You're so good. And I love you guys very much. And again, if you need me, Shannon at maymaymadeit.com. We answer all Cricut questions anytime. Do not